Chapter 3564. For a major force like the Sacred Sparrow Tribe, they would even pay a huge price to invite the spacetime spirit rats to open a wormhole for them. The Almighty among the spacetime spirit mice had the ability to revert to their ancestors and could open fixed wormholes. In the regions of these great forces and races, the wormholes were like intersecting networks that connected the various regions. Otherwise, just traveling alone would take an unknown amount of time. With the wormhole, transportation was much more convenient. Through the wormhole, they soon arrived at a bustling planet. They settled down on the planet and waited. Without a doubt, the planet of the Sacred Sparrow Tribe was even more bustling with true experts. There were all kinds of treasures that Lu Ming had never seen before. Lu Ming was extremely envious. Lu Ming went out for a stroll and bought some things. Brother Lu. When Lu Ming returned to his residence after buying some things, he bumped into Man Ning. Man Ning seemed to be looking for him. "Miss Man Ning, why are you looking for me?" Lu Ming smiled. "Brother Lu, do you know about the dreamy sacred jade?" Man Ning asked with a smile. "Dreamy sacred jade? What's that?" Lu Ming asked curiously. It was his first time hearing about the dreamy sacred jade. "This is it," Man Ning said. The next moment, her glabella lit up. A translucent, palm-sized jade token flew out from her glabella. "This is the dreamy sacred jade. What's so special about it?" Lu Ming asked. He could feel that the dreamy sacred jade was special, but he couldn't tell what it was. The dreamy sacred jade is refined by the dreamy heavenly palace. Man Ning explained with a smile. Dreamy heavenly palace. Lu Ming was shocked. The current primitive universe was in the era of the heavenly palace. The heavenly palace ruled the primitive universe and all races submitted to it. Legend had it that there wasn't only one heavenly palace, but many different heavenly palaces. Obviously, the illusory heavenly palace was one of the heavenly palaces. The treasures refined by the dreamy heavenly palace were definitely extraordinary. As expected, Man Ning continued to explain, as long as it is bound to the Dream Jade token, anyone who has the Dream Jade token, no matter where in the universe, will be able to exchange information. What? Lu Ming couldn't help but widen his eyes. No matter which corner of the universe they were in, they could exchange information. This function was too heaven-defying. Compared to the voice transmission Jade token, it was many times stronger. In fact, the desolate universe was too big. No matter what grade the voice transmission Jade talisman was, it was useless. The distance was too far, and it was impossible to send a message directly. However, this dreamy heavenly jade was actually able to directly communicate with one another. It was truly heaven-defying. In the Taishu dynasty, he had never heard of such a thing. The Taishu dynasty was still too backward. Brother Lu, this is only one of the basic functions of the dreamy heavenly jade. The dreamy heavenly jade has many other functions. For example, there is a public area on the dreamy heavenly jade. If you send a message there, other people who have the dreamy heavenly jade will be able to see it. For example, there are various secret techniques, divine skills, and cultivation experience on the dreamy heavenly jade. Man Ning explained. Lu Ming's eyes became brighter and brighter. This kind of treasure was really mysterious. He couldn't wait to have one. "Miss Man Ning, where can I buy this dreamy heavenly jade?" Lu Ming asked. The dreamy heavenly jade is very rare even in the sacred fire saber sect. It is a precious treasure and not many people have it. However, you can still buy it in the Sacred Sparrow Tribe. However, I happen to have one left. Why don't I give it to Brother Lu? After saying that, Man Ning's hand shone and another jade token appeared. It was indeed the dreamy heavenly jade. It was emitting a dreamy light. "Give it to me?" Lu Ming was surprised. A treasure like the dreamy heavenly jade was rare even in a big force like the Sacred Fire Saber sect. However, no one had heard of it in the Taishu dynasty. One could imagine that it was very valuable. Man Ning actually gave him a piece directly? Brother Lu is very talented and powerful. When we enter the Dragon Clan's mother planet, I am afraid we will need Brother Lu's help. Man Ning smiled and said directly. She was very direct and spoke her mind. Obviously, she wanted to befriend Lu Ming. After all, Lu Ming's strength was unfathomable. Alright, when we enter the Dragon Clan's mother planet, if there is a need, Lu Ming will definitely not sit back and do nothing. Of course, if it is too dangerous, please forgive Lu Ming for not being able to help. Lu Ming said. He was also very direct. If he had the ability, he would help. If he didn't, there was nothing he could do. Of course. Man Ning smiled and handed the dreamy heavenly jade to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it without hesitation. To be honest, such a treasure was really tempting. How do I use it? Lu Ming asked. Just drip a drop of blood on it and it will be bound. In this way, no one else can use it except you. Man Ning said. Lu Ming nodded and squeezed a drop of blood from his finger. He dripped it on the dreamy heavenly jade. Immediately, the dreamy heavenly jade absorbed the blood completely. At this time, Lu Ming and the dreamy heavenly jade had a strange connection. With a thought, the dreamy heavenly jade flew into his glabella and floated in his sea of consciousness. Then, Lu Ming's mind moved again, and an invisible picture appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Please name it. 3 big words appeared on the picture. Huh? Name it? Lu Ming was surprised. Brother Lu, the dreamy heavenly jade will form a dreamy space. The public area on it can be seen by everyone, so basically no one will use their real name. They will use a fake name to avoid their information being exposed. As if she knew what Lu Ming saw, Man Ning explained. I see. Lu Ming nodded. Then, what name should he give it? Along the way, I have an affinity with dragons. Let's call it Dragon Emperor. But now that the Divine Dragon Clan has been exterminated, the name Dragon Emperor is too arrogant. It will probably be targeted. Forget it, let's change it. Let's call it Bamboo Moo. Several thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The name Bamboo Moo was purely a flash of inspiration. There was no other reason. Then, Lu Ming used his spiritual sense to write the 2 words Bamboo Moo on the picture. Name successful. The scene immediately changed, and different diagrams appeared one after another. These were different areas, such as the public area, the secret technique area, the divine pill area, the secret area, and so on. Let's look at the secret technique area. Lu Ming's mind moved, and then the small picture in the secret technique area rapidly enlarged and turned into another picture. Secret technique, meteor flying moon. The arrow is like a meteor, piercing through the starry sky. Secret technique, phoenix burning heaven. The fire attribute secret technique can burn the starry sky. All kinds of secret techniques appeared in front of Lu Ming's eyes. However, each secret technique had a price behind it. If you wanted to see it, you had to buy it. And the price was shockingly high, and it was measured in Monarch pills. Lu Ming looked at it briefly and was not interested. Now that he had mastered 11 kinds of secret techniques, he had no interest in cultivating other ordinary secret techniques. Chapter 3565. Miss Manning, these secret techniques need to be purchased. How do I buy them? How do I pay for them with divine crystals or monarch pills? Lu Ming asked curiously. The dreamy heavenly palace has branches in many places. You can go to those branches to pay for some divine crystals or monarch pills, then you can spend them in the dreamy space of the dreamy divine jade. Manning said. Lu Ming suddenly realized that this was a bit like the contribution points of the sections. Many sects' identity tokens had contribution points in them, and they could be used to pay for them directly. Then, Lu Ming activated his spiritual sense and entered the public area. Suddenly, messages appeared one after another. We have arrived at the Dragon Clan's mother planet, but the seal is strong. We still have 5 years before we can enter. Analysis of the weakness of the seal on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. A series of messages appeared. This is amazing, really amazing. With this dreamy divine jade, won't I be able to know the big news and events in every corner of the primitive universe in an instant? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This was definitely a supreme treasure. The Heavenly Palace's methods were really shocking. The primitive universe is vast and endless, and there are countless races. It is said that some races have developed a method called technology, which is quite mysterious. I heard that the refinement of the dreamy divine jade was inspired by technology. Man Jean explained with a smile. Thank you, Miss Manning. Lu Ming cupped his fists, expressing his sincere gratitude. With the dreamy divine jade, he would soon be able to integrate into the vast universe. He would no longer be clueless and ignorant. He wanted to go back to his room immediately and study it carefully. Brother Lu, you can study it first. If you don't understand anything, ask me. By the way, let's add each other's information. This way, we can communicate with each other. Man Ning said. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming understood this point. For example, the communication jade talisman had to leave messages with each other before they could communicate. The two of them added each other's information, and then Man Ning left. Lu Ming couldn't wait to go back to his room and began to study the dreamy divine jade. In this way, they waited for a few months, and Lu Ming finally understood the usage of the dreamy divine jade. It was time to set off. A sacred sparrow race expert led them to a huge wormhole. This wormhole was the wormhole to the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Lu Ming saw a large number of young experts. There were at least 10,000 people. These youths had cultivation levels at or below the 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm. They were all universe-level factions like the Sacred Fire Saber sect that needed to borrow the wormhole of the Sacred Sparrow race. Swoosh swoosh. Swoosh. Swoosh swoosh. This group of young people was wearing feather clothes of various colors. There were both men and women. Some of them looked cold and arrogant, while others looked calm. However, all of them had powerful auras. There were several hundred of them. Swoosh divine swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Swoosh 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 swoosh. These youths were all elites of the Sacred Sparrow race. There were actually several hundred 3rd-level divine lords. One had to know, back then in the Taishu dynasty, there were only 2 people who reached level 1 divine lord. As for the Sacred Sparrow race, there were hundreds of 3rd-level divine lords. How many 1st-level and 2nd-level divine lords were there? And how many were 3rd-level divine lords and above? There was no comparison at all. Any prodigy from the Sacred Sparrow race would be a top prodigy in the Taishu dynasty. It's said that some powerful races have the blood of primitive gods flowing in their veins. They have powerful talents and rich resources. With the accumulation of resources, their cultivation is naturally stronger. Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The geniuses of the Sacred Sparrow tribe were certainly talented, but their resources were also astonishing. They were not something that the Taishu dynasty could compare with. It was also reasonable for them to be powerful. I heard that the Sacred Sparrow race is only ranked around a 9,000 on the prehistoric 10,000 races list. Yet, they are already so powerful. I wonder how many geniuses there are in the prehistoric universe. Thinking of this, Lu Ming was not discouraged. Instead, he became excited. The more prodigies there were, the better. Only then would it be exciting and motivating for him to constantly improve. Back then, in the primitive divine spirit world, there were many prodigies from various races in the prehistoric universe. However, there were many limitations. Only divine kings could enter. Once they broke through to the divine lord realm, they would be sent away. Moreover, only prodigies who cultivated the primitive divine body could enter. Therefore, the number of prodigies one could meet was very limited. In the vast prehistoric universe, there were countless races and forces. Thus, there were many prodigies. That was what was truly exciting. Now, follow us to the dragon race's mother planet through this wormhole. A sacred sparrow race prodigy said. Then, the sacred sparrow race took the lead and flew into the wormhole, disappearing into it. Then, Lu Ming and the others followed and disappeared into the wormhole. Not long after, they appeared in an unfamiliar galaxy. At this point, Lu Ming's blood suddenly flowed at a faster speed. This place gives me a very strange feeling. It's very comfortable. It seems that we are not far from the dragon race's mother planet. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Now that he had a drop of primitive divine blood in his body, it was the primitive divine blood of the primitive divine dragon. It was normal for him to feel close to everything about the dragon race. This is the star sector where the dragon race's mother planet is located. The dragon race's mother planet is in the center of this star sector. Follow us, but we are only responsible for bringing you to the dragon race's mother planet. After that, you can do whatever you want. It has nothing to do with the sacred sparrow race. A sacred sparrow race prodigy said. Everyone nodded. They naturally understood. Forces like the Sacred Fire Saber sect had bribed the Sacred Sparrow race. Therefore, the Sacred Sparrow race would bring them to the dragon race's mother planet. Of course, they would not care about what happened after that. The Sacred Sparrow race prodigy led the way and flew forward. After a few days, a huge planet appeared in front of Lu Ming and the others. Dong dong dong. At that moment, Lu Ming felt his heartbeat quicken. He knew that this was the dragon race's mother planet. It was huge, too huge. The dragon race's mother planet was the largest planet that Lu Ming had ever seen. It was at least 10,000 times larger than an ordinary planet with life. The huge planet floated in the distant starry sky, exuding an ancient aura. It was as if there were many primitive divine spirits sitting there. Even though it was far away, Lin Fan could feel a strong pressure. Moreover, there was only a sun around the dragon race's mother planet. There were no other planets. Along the way, Lu Ming heard about it from others. The war that killed the dragon race had been very tragic. Other than the dragon race's mother planet and a huge star beside it, all the other planets around it had been destroyed. The surroundings of the dragon race's mother planet were empty. There were no other planets, not even a single planet. There were only a lot of meteorites floating in the distance. Chapter 3566. These little birds are here too. Hee hee, great. Shall we catch a few to try? At that moment, a few snickers came from another direction. Then, several figures flew over. They were also young men, and there were several hundred of them. They were all dressed in black robes, and their eyes were cold, like venomous snakes. Glacier Python Tribe. Many of the Sacred Sparrow Tribe Skyprides had cold looks in their eyes. So it's the Glacier Python Tribe on the primitive 10,000 tribes board. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There was a section in the illusory sacred jade that recorded all kinds of information. For example, information on the primitive 10,000 tribes board, various perilous and secret grounds, etc. This information did not require divine gems or monarch elixirs to purchase. Lu Ming had browsed through a lot during this period of time and had a good understanding of the powerful tribes on the primitive 10,000 tribes board. The Glacier Python tribe was ranked in the 9,000th place on the primitive 10,000 tribes board, which was similar to the Sacred Sparrow tribe. However, the Glacier Python tribe and the Sacred Sparrow tribe were sworn enemies. That was because the Glacier Python tribe loved to devour the sacred sparrows. Throughout history, many members of the Sacred Sparrow tribe had been devoured by the Glacier Python tribe. At that moment, the young men from the Glacier Python tribe were looking at the young men from the Sacred Sparrow tribe with glowing eyes. It was as though they had seen delicious food. You little birds are here too. Very good. Become our delicacies. Hee hee. A young man from the Glacier Python tribe sneered. His eyes were burning with passion. You are the ones who will die. A sky pride from the sacred sparrow tribe shouted. His killing intent was cold as he stepped out and was about to attack. That was because he had a relative who had been devoured by the glacier python tribe. When he saw the glacier python tribe, he wanted to kill it. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. A young man from the glacier python tribe stepped out and charged at the sky pride from the sacred sparrow tribe. When the two of them collided in the void, there was a loud explosion. Boom! The starry sky shook and the two of them retreated. There was no doubt that both of them were third-level divine lords. Little bird, I'm going to devour you. The young man of the glacier python clan revealed a ruthless look on his face. He let out a furious roar, and his body started to transform into a gigantic python. This giant python was at least tens of thousands of meters long. It opened its mouth and tried to swallow the youth of the sacred sparrow tribe. The python's mouth was like a black hole, emitting a terrifying suction force. The young man of the sacred sparrow tribe let out a long cry. His body also transformed into a huge sacred sparrow. He flapped his wings and slashed towards the giant glacier python like a heavenly blade. The two of them fought fiercely, and energy overflowed everywhere. The other members of the Holy Sparrow tribe and the Glacier Python tribe did not attack. They were already close to the territory of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. There were probably many geniuses from large factions in the vicinity of this starry sky. If they were to start a war now, both sides would suffer great losses and they would probably be annihilated by the other races. Very strong. Lu Ming observed carefully. The Holy Sparrow tribe and the Glacier Python tribe lived up to their names on the primitive 10,000 tribes list. In a battle of the same level, perhaps no one in the Sacred Fire Saber sect could match him. Even the strongest Man Ning and Lu Xian could not. This was an innate talent. These races had powerful bloodlines that ordinary races could not compare to. The two sides exchanged a few hundred blows. In the end, they coughed up blood and retreated. There was no clear winner. Humph, you little birds. When we enter the Dragon Clan's mother planet, we'll annihilate all of you. The young man of the Glacier Python tribe said coldly. We don't know who will be annihilated by then. The young man of the Holy Sparrow tribe replied forcefully. The two sides did not continue to fight. After a short standoff, the Glacier Python tribe flew in another direction. Although the Dragon Clan's mother planet has been revived, the seal of the 10,000 dragon seals is still extremely strong. Only a few weak spots can be penetrated. Moreover, it requires a fixed period of time. We can only enter when the seal is at its weakest. Now is not the time. We still need another 5 years. Now that we have brought you to the Dragon Clan's mother planet, you can move about on your own. Don't follow us. A young man of the Holy Sparrow tribe said to Lu Ming and the rest. After arriving at the Dragon Clan's mother planet, the Holy Sparrow tribe naturally did not want to bring Lu Ming and the rest along. In their opinion, Lu Ming and the rest were just burdens. Having said that, the people of the Holy Sparrow tribe flew ahead. Let's go. Let's go. The sky prides of forces like the Sacred Fire Saber sect also left. Some of them flew in the direction of the Dragon Clan's mother planet to check out the situation. Some of them flew in other directions and found a meteorite to settle down near the Dragon Clan's mother planet. They would wait for 5 years to enter the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Lu Ming had learned a lot about the situation of the Dragon Clan's mother planet from the illusory sacred jade. Back then, the Dragon Clan's mother planet had been sealed with the 10,000 dragon seals by the last batch of elites of the Divine Dragon Clan. This seal was extremely strong. Even the top elites on the primitive 10,000 tribe board would find it difficult to enter. Now that the Dragon Clan's mother planet had been revived, the 10,000 dragon seals had begun to weaken. However, even if they had weakened, it was not that easy to enter. Now, some powerful forces had only found 18 weak spots. They were scattered in different parts of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Furthermore, these 18 weak points weren't weak all the time. After some experts had experimented with them, they had concluded that every 33 years, the seals of the weak points would be at their weakest. Only then would they be able to enter. Moreover, the strongest seal would only allow third-level divine lords to enter. If an even stronger expert tried to barge in, they would be turned into ashes in an instant. Now, the 18 weak spots were in the hands of 18 powerful races. Moreover, there was another interesting point. Perhaps it was because the divine dragon clan had been annihilated. Therefore, the dragon clan that had sealed the 10,000 dragon seals were filled with resentment. They were extremely repulsed by the powerful races on the myriad tribe board. The stronger the race, the greater the repulsion. Now, the top 100 races on the primitive 10,000 tribe board could not enter at all. Even those below third-level divine lords could not enter. They could only enter when the seals were even weaker. Therefore, the top 100 races on the primitive 10,000 tribe board had already given up after a few attempts. The elites and sky prides of these races had already left. In other words, the races that appeared in this starry sky were all races ranked below the top 100 on the primitive 10,000 tribe board. This information was obtained by Lu Ming from the illusory sacred jade. With the illusory sacred jade, many things were really a lot more convenient. Soon, only the 26 people from the sacred fire saber sect were left in this area. Should we go to the dragon clan's mother planet to investigate first or find a place to stay? Someone asked. It's not time yet. We can't enter the dragon clan's mother planet at all. It's useless to investigate. Let's find a place to stay first. Man Ning said. Everyone nodded and then flew in a direction. They found a huge meteorite nearby and landed on it. Chapter 3567. Lu Xian's team also followed Lu Ming's team and landed on the meteorite. However, they did not follow them but landed on the other side of the meteorite, separated by a long distance. Although they came from Sacred Fire Saber sect, they were competitors. After landing on the meteorite, Lu Ming sat cross-legged and began to look at the illusory heavenly jade in his sea of consciousness. There was a lot of useful information in the public area of the illusory heavenly jade. During this period of time, the attention of the major races in the primitive universe was focused on the divine dragon race's mother planet. Therefore, most of the topics revolved around the divine dragon race's mother planet. After browsing for a while, Lu Ming learned some useful information. Those 18 weak points were now in the hands of 18 powerful races. They were strictly controlled. If one wanted to pass through the 18 weak points, one would have to pay a large amount of divine crystals or monarch pills to those races. Lu Ming couldn't help but sigh. In this world, strength was the absolute truth. It was the same everywhere. The dragon race's mother planet belonged to the dragon race and not other races. However, those 18 races occupied the 18 weak points. If others wanted to pass through, they would have to pay a fee. It was because they were strong. If they were weak, they would have been destroyed long ago. If they were strong, others could only listen obediently. At the same time, Lu Ming learned that these weak points only appeared once every 33 years. Last time, the major races had already sent people in, but it seemed that they suffered heavy losses. Most of them did not pass and died. Even at the weakest time, it was not easy to pass through. It was very dangerous. However, after another 33 years, some experts speculated that this time, it should be better. It was not as dangerous as the last time. It should be easier to pass through. The dragon race's mother planet actually appeared at the beginning of the world and gave birth to 49 primordial divine dragons. It's really unimaginable. Lu Ming sighed. In the public area, someone spread the origin of the dragon race's mother planet. Lu Ming was shocked. Some powerful races had mother planets that were born at the beginning of the world and had given birth to primordial divine spirits. It was incomparably mysterious. The divine dragon race was extremely powerful. At their peak, they could be ranked in the top 5 of the universe. The dragon race's mother planet had given birth to 49 primordial divine dragons. It was extremely terrifying. No wonder so many people wanted to come to the dragon clan's mother planet to look for opportunities. How many opportunities could there be in a dragon clan's mother planet that had nurtured over 49 primeval divine dragons and developed for countless years? More importantly, it had been sealed for dozens of stellar years. How many treasures would there be? Lu Ming's heart was also burning with passion. The primordial divine body that he cultivated was the primordial divine dragon body, which required him to continuously condense primordial divine blood. If he could obtain treasures related to the primordial divine dragon from the dragon clan's mother planet, it would be of great help to him. Moreover, Mid-Autumn Moon and Xian Yanqing might be on the dragon clan's home planet. He had to go there. Wait, the dragon clan's mother planet has such a strong seal. If Xiao Qing is in the dragon clan's mother planet, how did she get in? Lu Ming frowned as he thought of this possibility. Even the top experts of the Great Desolate 10,000 races ranking could not enter, but Xian Yanqing could? Mid-Autumn Moon had entered through the teleportation platform of a secret base of the dragon clan. That could be explained. But what about Xian Yanqing? However, if Xian Yanqing was not on the dragon clan's mother planet, why did the map and the jade token that he had left him point to this place? Moreover, it was left behind thousands of years ago. What was the secret behind this? Lu Ming could not figure it out. He could only wait until he entered the dragon clan's mother planet and slowly investigate. Boom! At this moment, a meteorite in the distance exploded. Then, divine light shone and illuminated the starry sky. Someone was fighting. Lu Ming, Man Ning, and the rest were alarmed. They looked in that direction. They were far away, but the starry sky was vast and unobstructed. With Lu Ming and the others' eyesight, they could still see some of it. Many figures were fighting and killing each other. It was very tragic, and people were dying constantly. In the primitive universe, there are some races and forces that are mortal enemies. Once you encounter them, a war will break out easily. For example, the Sacred Sparrow tribe and the Glacier Python tribe. Man Ning explained with a solemn expression. The others were the same. Now, in the galaxy around the dragon clan's mother planet, countless geniuses had gathered. If they were not careful, a war would break out. They had to be careful. Otherwise, they would be killed before they even entered the dragon clan's mother planet. That would be a waste. After fighting for a while, both sides suffered heavy losses. As if they were afraid, the war finally ended and they retreated. However, such a war was unavoidable. Not long after, a war broke out in another part of the starry sky. It was a tragic battle. Just like that, from time to time, a great war would break out in the starry sky. In less than half a year, Lu Ming and the others had stayed and watched dozens of great battles. Ah! On this day, a scream suddenly came from the meteorite where Lu Ming and the others were. This made Man Ning and the others' hair stand on end. They all stood up and formed a circle. They circulated their divine power and cautiously stared in the direction of the sound. At this moment, a few more screams were heard. They were incomparably mournful. It's from Lu Xian and the others. A young man spoke. His face was pale and cold sweat was flowing down. That direction was where Lu Xian and the others were staying. Let's go. We're leaving this meteorite. Man Ning made a prompt decision and was about to lead the others away. However, at this moment, a stream of light flew towards them rapidly. It was Lu Xian. They immediately saw that the stream of light was wrapped around Lu Xian. At this moment, Lu Xian's face was filled with fear. He rushed towards Lu Ming and the others frantically and roared, "Man Ning, save me, quickly save me. Damn it, this guy wants to drag us in." Man Ning roared. Lu Xian flew towards them and roared, trying to divert the trouble. However, at this moment, an even more shocking scene appeared. Lu Xian's body suddenly emitted a dense black light. Then, his body stiffened, and rays of black light rushed out from his body. Lu Xian screamed miserably. His glabella shone, and his soul rushed out along with the black light. Lu Ming and the others were shocked. Lu Xian's soul was about to be extracted. This was too strange. "Save me, Man Ning, Lu Ming, save me!" Lu Xian screamed crazily. His soul struggled violently, but it was useless. The next moment, his soul completely flew out and was caught by a skinny young man in a black robe. Lu Xian's soul was extracted, and his body fell to the ground like a pile of mud. Another good soul. "Hee hee, not bad, not bad." The skinny man sneered. He took out a wooden jar and put Lu Xian's soul inside. "You're from the Wu people?" Man Ning asked with a pale face. "Hee hee, you have good taste." "We're from the Wu people." A cold voice sounded. It was not the skinny young man from before. It came from another direction. Chapter 35-68. A few more black-robed young men appeared in another direction. There were 4 of them in total. Together with the previous one, there were 5 of them. Their attire was very similar. They were all wearing black robes with strange patterns embroidered on them. They were all skinny, as if they were just skin and bones. Black light constantly emanated from their bodies, making them look very evil. Wu people. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. This was the second time he had seen the Wu people. Back in the Taishu dynasty, a quasi-emperor of the Wu people helped the barbarians to fight against the Taishu dynasty, but he was stopped by Blue Merchant with his soul power. Later on, the barbarian emperor offended the Wu people and was killed by the Wu people. The faces of Man Ning and the others were extremely ugly, and they were also extremely terrified. The sorcerer tribe was a very famous tribe in the untainted universe. It was not only because the sorcerer tribe was extremely powerful and ranked high on the list of 10,000 tribes in the untainted universe, but also because the sorcerer tribe's means were extremely strange and terrifying. The Wu people often extracted the souls of other creatures to cultivate. They were notorious for that. Of course, the people of the sorcerer tribe knew their limits. They would not offend those tribes that were stronger than them. They would only offend those tribes that were weaker than them. Therefore, for countless years, not only did the sorcerer tribe live well, they also became stronger and stronger. Obviously, Lu Xian and the others had already had their souls extracted by the Wu people. It was their turn now. Man Ning and the others felt their hearts sink. What should we do? What should we do? Someone's voice was trembling. His body was trembling non-stop, and his face was deathly pale. Let's go. A young man couldn't stand it anymore. He rushed up and tried to escape. You want to escape? How naive. One of the Wu people took out a small drum and hit it lightly. Then, the young man who was trying to escape trembled and almost fell from the sky. Then, the Wu people young man waved his hand and 3 puppets flew out at an astonishing speed toward the young man. Ah, I'll kill you. The young man from the Sacred Fire Saber sect roared. His saber light soared and pierced through the starry sky. The saber light split into 3 and slashed at the 3 wooden puppets. However, when the young man from the Sacred Fire Saber sect released his saber light, the young man from the Wu people hit the drums several times. The young man from the Sacred Fire Saber sect shook violently. His glabella glowed, and even the saber light dimmed. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Obviously, this was a soul attack that could affect the soul, just like the Wu person who had appeared in the Taishu dynasty. This kind of method was somewhat similar to the people of the Jiuyou heavenly residents of the Taishu dynasty, but the degree of exquisiteness was far beyond that of the people of the Jiuyou heavenly residents. At this moment, the saber light dimmed. The 3 puppets rushed over and entered the body of the young man from the Holy Fire Saber sect. The young man screamed in agony. His body emitted a dense black light. Then, his soul was pulled out, just like Lu Xian's soul. With his soul taken out, the young man from the Holy Fire Saber sect was left with only his physical body. He was dead. Man Ning and the others were even paler. The Wu people's methods were too strange. They specialized in dealing with souls. Only soul protection treasures could resist them. However, the barbarians' methods weren't limited to that. Even soul protection treasures couldn't resist the Wu people's attacks. Many people who were stronger than the Wu people were often defeated by the Wu people because their methods were impossible to defend against. Huh, you want to run away from us? How naive. The young man from the Wu people sneered. He grabbed the soul of the young man from the Holy Fire Saber sect and stuffed it into a bottle. They could use these souls to make all kinds of puppets and even higher-level substitute puppets. Therefore, souls were treasures in their eyes, especially the souls of young prodigies. This gathering of prodigies was a great opportunity for them. It was even more attractive than the dragon race's home planet. Just accept your death and you won't have to suffer. Another young prodigy from the Wu people sneered. Everyone, gather together and attack together. Let's get out of here. Man Ning said. They had no choice but to give it their all. Although she knew that even if she gave it her all, it might not work. She could tell from the fate of Lu Xian and the others. However, they couldn't just give up. It seems that you're still unwilling to give up. You're courting death. A young man from the Wu people sneered. They could tell that Man Ning and the others wouldn't give up. 5 young men from the Wu people waved their hands. A large number of puppets appeared in the air and surrounded Lu Ming and the others. Let's go. Man Ning shouted and was about to attack. However, at this moment, a calm voice sounded, "Why rush? Just kill them." It was Lu Ming who spoke. Man Ning, who was about to dash out, paused. He looked at Lu Ming in shock. Kill them? She had to admit that Lu Ming was very powerful and had already broken one of the shackles of the origin source secret technique. However, the Wu people's methods were too strange. They could often defeat the stronger ones. Facing 5 young prodigies from the Wu people, she didn't think that Lu Ming could win. However, when she saw Lu Ming's confident smile, her heart could not help but calm down. Lu Ming was also unfathomable in her eyes. Hearing Lu Ming's words, the 5 young prodigies from the Wu people were stunned. Then, they burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, did you hear that? This kid said he would kill us. He's just a first-level divine lord trash. This is the funniest joke I've heard in so many years. I've decided to take this kid's soul. I'd like to see what gave him such confidence. A young prodigy from the Wu people laughed so hard that tears almost came out of his eyes. In the primitive universe, other than the top 100 races, there were also some special races. The Wu people were not afraid of anyone. At the same level, the Wu people had an absolute advantage. Dong dong dong. At that moment, the young prodigy from the Wu people made his move. He hit the small drum in his hand and invisible sound waves rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Man Ning and the others shuddered. Lu Ming was the same. His body trembled slightly and his glabella glowed. He felt that his soul was being attacked by a powerful force. Even the frightening feather painting found it difficult to resist. The frightening feather painting had been refined by Jing Yu himself. It could withstand soul attacks. However, the soul attacks of the Wu people were too strange. They were many times more mysterious than the 9 Serenity's heavenly kings. The frightening feather painting could withstand the soul attacks of the 9 Serenity's heavenly kings' people, but it couldn't withstand the soul attacks of the Wu people. The soul attacks of the Wu people were like drills that kept spinning. They drilled through the frightening feather painting's defense and attacked Lu Ming's soul. In fact, although soul defense treasures were rare and precious, even a powerful faction like the Sacred Fire Saber sect had some. For example, Man Ning and the others also had soul defense treasures. However, they couldn't withstand the soul attacks of the Wu people either. Chapter 35-69. Haha, that's all you've got? Die. The Wu people laughed, and at least 10 puppets rushed towards Lu Ming's group. It's over. At this moment, Man Ning and the others had the same thought. They didn't expect to die at the hands of the Wu people before they could even enter the dragon race's home planet. Soul attack? You think you're the only one with it? At this moment, Lu Ming said lightly, and then a small bell appeared above his head. Original secret technique, Bell of Evil. As soon as the Bell of Evil appeared, Lu Ming activated the power to sever the shackles. Ding-ling-ling. The Bell of Evil rang with a clear sound, but it was full of evil power. The key was that the young Wu people's soul attack was directly defeated by the Bell of Evil. Not only that, the Bell of Evil counterattacked, and the soul attack swept towards the young Wu people like a tide. The young Wu people's body shook violently, and he couldn't help but step back and spit out a mouthful of blood. His attack was defeated by Lu Ming and he suffered a backlash. His soul was injured. Man Ning and the others felt their souls lighten, and they were no longer attacked. You also have a soul attack. It's an original secret technique. Damn, it severed the shackles. A few young men from the sorcerer tribe cried out in shock. Let's kill him together. The sorcerer tribe elites took out all kinds of weapons to attack the soul. There were bells, flutes, gyukins, etc. Clang. Woo-woo. All kinds of sounds rang out, and the soul attack rushed towards Lu Ming like a storm. Ding-ling-ling. Lu Ming kept activating the Bell of Evil. The power of a shackle severed was amazing, and it directly defeated the soul attack of the 5 young Wu people. Kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly, and the Wind Destroyer boots, the Void Breaker sword, and the Overlord spear appeared one after another. Whoosh. The Void Breaker sword was the fastest, and it directly broke through the void, and attacked a young Wu people. Puff. The Wu people youth didn't even have time to resist before his head was cut off. But in the next moment, the body of the Wu people youth exploded and turned into a scarecrow. His body appeared in another direction, his face deathly pale. Scarecrow substitutes. The Wu people are indeed amazing. Lu Ming frowned. At the same time, he charged toward the Wu people youth with the Tyrant God spear in his hand. Let's attack together. At this moment, Man Ning finally reacted to the situation. She shouted and her blade flashed. She charged towards the sorcerer tribe youth and slashed a puppet in half. At the same time, the other 10 youths also attacked. The sky was filled with saber lights. Lu Ming used the Wicked Bell to block the soul attack of the Wu people youth. Without the soul attack, Man Ning and the others could finally use their full strength. More than a dozen puppets were blocked by Man Ning and the others. Lu Ming dashed past them. The overbearing deity spear was small and he defeated 3 puppets consecutively. The overbearing deity spear vibrated and 5 beams of spear gleams burst forth, shrouding the 5 youths from the wizard tribe. Damn it! Kill him! The 5 young men from the sorcerer tribe shouted and waved their hands continuously. More wooden puppets flew out. Ding! 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 The wicked bell kept ringing. The puppets shook violently, and wisps of black mist came out of their bodies. They even let out shrill screams. These puppets were made with souls. Now that they were attacked by the wicked bell, they were about to collapse. Lu Ming rushed over and destroyed more than a dozen puppets in an instant. Wizard God descends. The 5 Wu people youth shouted at the same time. Their skinny bodies swelled up and turned into monsters dozens of meters tall. The monsters wore bronze armor and held bronze swords. This was their origin secret art. The 5 of them had the same origin secret art. The 5 of them used their origin secret arts and attacked Lu Ming together. Gate of Domination. Lu Ming waved his hands and the Gate of Domination appeared. It expanded to 10,000 feet in size. There was a pitch-black vortex on it that kept spinning. A terrifying suction force erupted and locked the 5 members of the sorcerer tribe in place. Kill. Lu Ming shouted and waved the tyrant god's spear, cutting off a shackle. Boom! Boom! Even if the 5 Wu people youth worked together, they couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. 2 of the Wu people youth were forced to retreat, while the other 3 suffered the brunt of the attack and their bodies exploded. During the process of the explosion, the area constantly distorted, and traces of the scarecrow appeared. They wanted to use scarecrows to escape, but this time, the area was suppressed by the Gate of Domination. The terrifying suction force had completely locked down the area. Wisps of black light appeared and let out terrified screams. No, no. Damn it, impossible. After several terrified screams, the 3 Wu people youth were completely annihilated and died on the spot. Humph, the scarecrows also have their limits. As long as this area is sealed, you won't be able to replace them. Lu Ming laughed inwardly. This made sense. Otherwise, no matter how he killed them, the Wu people could use scarecrows to replace them. That would be too heaven-defying. Wouldn't it be impossible to kill them? You dare to kill our Wu people? You're courting death. Run. The remaining 2 young sorcerer tribesmen screamed in fear and tried to escape. But how could their speed compare to Lu Ming's? With the wind-extinguishing boots, he caught up to the 2 Wu people youth in a flash. Ah! Spare us. The 2 Wu people youth screamed miserably and begged Lu Ming for mercy. When they killed others and extracted their souls, they only felt exhilarated, incomparably exhilarated. They had never thought about how they would feel when they were killed. Now that they finally encountered it, they only felt fear. They were so scared that their bodies trembled. They even wanted to kneel down and beg for mercy. However, it was obvious that Lu Ming would not leave them behind. The Gate of Domination suppressed them and the Overlord Divine Spear swept across. The remaining 2 youths from the sorcerer tribe exploded and died completely. With a wave of his hand, he took the storage rings of the 5 Wu people youth. Amazing! Man Ning and the others looked at Lu Ming, dumbfounded. They had thought that Lu Ming was very powerful, but now they realized that they had underestimated Lu Ming. Lu Ming was simply unfathomable. What did they see? 5 secret techniques of origin. Lu Ming had already cast 5 types of origin secret skills, and 2 of them had already severed the shackles. Was he still human? A monster. More importantly, was this Lu Ming's limit? Was Lu Ming still hiding his strength? The more they looked at Lu Ming, the more they felt that Lu Ming was like a bottomless abyss, as deep as the sea. Man Ning's beautiful eyes flashed with joy. She knew that she had made the right bet. She had given Lu Ming a piece of dreamy divine jade in order to befriend Lu Ming. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier she would be. Chapter 3570. Let's leave this place before the Wu people come again. Lu Ming said. The Wu people were ranked very high even in the wilderness 10,000 races. There would be more than 5 prodigies here. The Sacred Sparrow tribe had a few hundred prodigies. The Wu people were much stronger than the Sacred Sparrow tribe. Their numbers would be even more shocking. If they came in a swarm, Lu Ming would be afraid. Besides, who knew if the Wu people had such terrifying prodigies? If a few monstrous prodigies came, and their cultivation was a few levels higher than Lu Ming's, Lu Ming was not confident. Alright, let's leave quickly. I think we should find a bigger meteorite with more people on it. That way, the Wu people will be more cautious and won't dare to act recklessly. Man Ning nodded. Immediately, the group of 12 left to search for bigger meteorites. The area around the dragon race's mother planet was empty. There were no other planets. Far away, there were countless meteorites that formed a circle around the dragon race's mother planet. Everyone guessed that these meteorites were probably planets near the dragon clan's mother planet in the past. Back then, those planets had been destroyed, resulting in the formation of meteorites. Soon, Lu Ming and the others found a huge meteorite that looked like a small planet. There were many people gathered on it. They separated in waves. Obviously, they came from different factions. Some had dozens, while others had hundreds. Lu Ming and the others landed. Some people glanced at Lu Ming and the others, but did not care. There were only 12 of them, so there was no need to pay attention to them. Lu Ming and the others found an empty space and sat down cross-legged. They waited quietly. Lu Ming did not relax. He diverted part of his attention to observe the outside world while comprehending the origin divine power factor. Now that his sovereign divine power had awakened 5 times, Lu Ming naturally wanted to awaken his other divine powers as well. One of the benefits of controlling multiple types of God power was that once one type of God power was awakened, such as the 5th awakening of the Sovereign Lord's God power, the other types of God power could be used as a reference. That way, the path of cultivation would be much easier than the first 5 awakenings. Once he awakened 2, 3, or even 5 times, and gained more experience, it would be easier for him to cultivate the higher levels of godly power. Although a few years was not a long time, Lu Ming would seize every moment to cultivate. After that, there were no more accidents. Time flew by quickly. A few years passed in the blink of an eye. It was time for the 10,000 dragon seals on the Dragon Clan's mother planet to weaken. Everyone moved and gathered towards the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Let's go too. Man Ning arrived. They followed the group of people on the meteorite and flew in the direction of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. But not long after they flew out, they were blocked. At least 1,000 people had sealed off the area. The Winged Clan. Many people's expressions changed. There was no doubt that the Winged Clan was a powerful clan in the primitive universe. They were ranked 130 on the primitive 10,000 races list. This was a top-notch clan and was much stronger than the Sacred Sparrow clan. The Winged Clan had branches in various parts of the universe. Lu Ming had encountered many branches of the Winged Clan before. Even the 9 extinction Heavenly King residents of the Taishu dynasty had branches of the Winged Clan. However, the Winged Clan in front of him was obviously not a branch but the main clan of the Winged Clan. You are going to a weak spot on the Dragon Clan's mother planet, right? Come with us. One of the Winged Clan's prodigies said. Everyone looked at each other, but they did not dare to disobey the Winged Clan. They were ranked 130 on the primitive 10,000 races list. Now, the Dragon Clan's mother planet was rejecting the top 100 clans. The top 100 clans did not come, but the top 130 clans were definitely undefeatable. How would an ordinary universe-level force like the Sacred Fire Saber sect dare to say no? Everyone followed the Winged Clan and flew towards the Dragon Clan's mother planet. The closer they got to the Dragon Clan's mother planet, the more they felt the vastness of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. When they were 100 million miles away from the Dragon Clan's mother planet, they stopped. This was because they were almost within the range of the 10,000 dragon seals. If they were to go any further, they would be bombarded by the 10,000 dragon seals. Looking at the Dragon Clan's mother planet from here, it seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog, and the scenery on the planet could not be seen clearly. This fog was the 10,000 dragon seals. They flew in a direction. This doesn't seem to be any of the 18 weak spots. At this moment, someone spoke. Some people had already studied the specific locations of the 18 weak spots, but the place they were going to did not seem to be any of the 18 weak spots. Hearing this, many people's expressions changed. That's right, this is not any of the 18 weak spots. Some time ago, our Winged Clan discovered a new weak spot. It can be said to be the 19th weak spot. A Winged Clan prodigy said. A new weak spot? Many people whispered. That's right, a new weak spot. A Winged Clan prodigy nodded and said with a smile, now, the other 18 weak spots are probably crowded with people. You'll have to queue for a long time if you want to go in. Moreover, if you want to go in, you'll have to pay a large number of divine crystals or monarch pills. However, this new weak spot was discovered by our Winged Clan, and it's under our control. If you want to go in, we won't charge a single cent. We won't charge a single cent. Many people's eyes lit up. They didn't charge a single cent, and the number of people was small, so they didn't have to queue. This couldn't be better. However, some people's eyes were filled with doubt and worry. If they didn't charge a single cent, would the winged clan be so kind? And they even specially brought them over? They had a bad premonition in their hearts. Not long after, they arrived at their destination. In front of them, in the direction of the Dragon Clan's mother planet, there was an incomparably huge vortex. Like a funnel, it poured down towards the bottom of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. It's really a weak spot. Many people's eyes lit up again. Some people had seen other weak spots before, and they were indeed like vortexes. This was caused by the weakening of the 10,000 dragon seals. Now that the 10,000 dragon seals are at their weakest, it's the best time to enter the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Alright, you guys can go in. A winged clan prodigy said. Everyone couldn't wait to fly toward the vortex. However, some people stopped, including Lu Ming. They didn't move. Wait a minute, let's see what's going on first. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Man Ning and the others. Man Ning and the others' eyes flickered a few times before they nodded and didn't move. You're only letting us in, but you're not going in yourselves? Someone asked and looked at the winged clan. That was because none of the winged clan's prodigies moved. Instead, they landed outside the vortex and watched from afar. That made people curious. They didn't move, but they let others move. That was abnormal. You guys go in first. We'll naturally go in later. A winged clan prodigy said. Chapter 3571. Many people's expressions changed when they saw the winged men. They had a bad premonition. Even those who were in a hurry to go in stopped. They were not stupid. If they could not see that something was wrong, how could they be called geniuses? The winged men had asked them to enter first, but they did not. Something was obviously wrong. I have friends who are looking for me at another weak point. I'll enter from another weak point. Me too. I remember now. I have something to do. I have to leave for a while. Immediately, many people began to find excuses to leave. However, the winged men had already sealed off the area, blocking their way. A powerful aura filled the air. What are you trying to do? Someone's expression changed and asked. Now, everyone knew that there was something wrong with this matter. Those who did not realize that there was something wrong would be fools. If we ask you to go in, you go in. Don't you understand? A winged man's genius shouted coldly, his tone domineering. I don't believe that you'll be so kind as to let us in. This is not a weak point at all, right? Someone shouted. This is a weak point. One of the sky prides from the winged men race said, since you want to know, I will tell you. This is indeed a newly discovered weak point. However, no one has entered it before. You are the first batch. This is your fortune. What? No one has gone in before? Are you asking us to test it? Someone shouted angrily. Obviously, they were being used as guinea pigs by the winged men to pave the way. 10,000 dragon seals were extraordinary and terrifying. Such a weak point that had not been tested was definitely dangerous and full of unknowns. The winged men did not dare to test it themselves, but they brought them here to test it. It was obvious that they were sending them to their deaths. You're sending us to our deaths. Someone shouted. Don't make it sound unpleasant. Sending you to your deaths? What if this weak point can be passed easily? Wouldn't it save you a lot of money? You have to think positively. A winged men's genius sneered. Think positively. Why don't you go in yourselves? Someone shouted. Nonsense. How can trash like you be compared to the geniuses of the winged men clan? Today, even if you don't want to, you have to go in. Finally, someone from the winged men clan lost his patience and shouted coldly. How domineering. We won't go in. Everyone, we have more people. Let's join forces and charge out together. They won't be able to stop us. Someone shouted. There were over 1,000 winged men here, but there were over 2,000 people here. If they worked together, they would definitely be able to charge out. No matter how high the winged men's talent was, those who came here, the highest cultivation was just a third-level divine lord. They were also third-level divine lords. Even if there was a disparity, it would also not be very obvious. Boom boom, everyone was moved. Powerful auras erupted as they were about to rush outside. Lu Ming was mixed in the crowd. He naturally wouldn't stand out. After all, his cultivation was still low, only at the first level of the Divine Lord realm. He could deal with ordinary third-level Divine Lord realm geniuses, but who knew if there were any terrifying monstrous geniuses in the winged men race? Now, it was better to keep a low profile to avoid being targeted. You're courting death. The winged men's sky pride's face turned cold. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, some winged men's sky prides moved. With a flash, they turned into streaks of light and charged forward at an astonishing speed. In the next moment, there were a few screams. In an instant, dozens of people were killed on the spot. What powerful strength! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The winged men's sky prides who attacked and those who were killed were also third-level divine lords. However, those people didn't have the strength to fight back against the winged men's sky prides. They were almost killed in an instant. In a battle of the same level, they were almost killed in an instant. The strength of the winged men's sky prides far surpassed the others. Charge together. Someone shouted. Among these people, there were also extremely powerful sky prides who blocked the winged men's sky prides. For example, there was a 5-meter-tall sky pride who was covered in rock armor. He was very powerful and was locked in a fierce battle with a winged men's sky pride. The higher the race ranking, the stronger the talent and combat strength. However, other races would also give birth to some terrifying monstrous geniuses. These monstrous geniuses might not lose to the races with powerful talents. This youth in rock armor was one such example. He roared and charged outside. Charge! The others took the opportunity to gather and charged outside, wanting to break out of the encirclement of the winged men. However, at this moment, a few divine lights shone out from the winged men's sky prides. They were extremely dazzling and terrifying. As the divine lights swept past, a large number of sky prides exploded, their bodies and souls were destroyed. In just an instant, at least 100 sky prides had died. The others were shocked and quickly retreated. Boundary Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as he gasped. Fortunately, he and Man Ning were at the back and weren't hit by the divine lights. Otherwise, they would have died too. Lu Ming was 100% sure that it was a Boundary Emperor who attacked just now, and there was more than one of them. Boundary Emperor, it's a Boundary Emperor. The winged men have violated the rules. Someone shouted in shock. There were terrifying experts guarding the starry sky near the dragon race's mother planet. These experts were from the top 10 sect masters. These experts had long set the rules that those who came here had to meet the conditions to enter the dragon race's mother planet. Now, only those who were third-level divine lords and below could enter. Therefore, those who came here could only be third-level divine lords. Therefore, no matter if it was the Sacred Fire Saber sect or the Sacred Sparrow race, the strongest experts who came here were third-level divine lords. It was the same for the other races and forces. Almost all of them had sent their young sky prides. But now, a Boundary Emperor had appeared among the winged men, which was obviously against the rules. How dare you violate the rules set by the experts of the top 10 races? I'm going to report you. That's right. The winged men will be severely punished. Many people shouted. Ha ha ha, ridiculous, really ridiculous. Some despicable races don't even have brains. Do you think that the experts of the top 10 races wouldn't know that a Boundary Emperor of the winged men has come here? The sky prides of the winged men sneered. What? The scene fell silent and many people's faces turned ugly. Indeed, the experts of the top 10 races were extremely powerful. How could they not know that a boundary emperor had entered this area? There was only one possibility, which was that those experts had acquiesced. I heard that the winged men and the angel race of the top 10 races have a close relationship. They might even be of the same origin. Is it true? Someone said with an ugly face and a hoarse voice. Chapter 35-72. Once these words were spoken, everyone looked at each other in dismay. Their hearts also sank. Many of them had heard of this rumor before. It was said that the winged men and the angels were originally from the same origin, but they eventually split. The angels were extremely powerful and ranked in the top 10 of the primitive 10,000 races. They were the true overlords of the primitive universe. What was even more terrifying was that there was a rumor that the angels had an unusual relationship with the heavenly palace. If that was the case, the angels were even more terrifying. The winged men had the angels as their backing. The top 10 races might have already known that they had secretly sent some quasi-emperors in, but they turned a blind eye to it out of respect for the angels. This was very likely. I'll say it one last time. Go and scout the way, or you'll all die. A winged men prodigy shouted coldly. Everyone's expression turned ugly. Although they were all prodigies and most of them had reached the 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm, they were still too weak compared to quasi-emperors. No matter how many of them went, it was useless. They would all be killed. Moreover, there were so many winged men prodigies. Damn it. Many of them roared in their hearts, but they had no choice but to compromise. They could only scout the way for the winged men. They might be able to survive if they went to the weak spot, but they would definitely die if they fought a quasi-emperor. Lu Ming's expression was also very gloomy. A quasi-emperor was not someone he could fight. The difference was too great. They could kill him with a flick of a finger. Of course, he still had a trump card, which was the purple copper coffin. He did not know what was inside the purple copper coffin, but it was extremely terrifying. As Lu Ming's cultivation increased, he felt more and more terrifying inside the purple copper coffin. Even divine lords and quasi-emperors could not compare to it. If he opened the purple copper coffin at all costs, Lu Ming might be able to annihilate everyone here. However, he might also lose his life. Even if he did not die, he would probably be captured or killed. Don't forget that this starry sky had already been sealed off by the top 10 races. Although he couldn't see those experts, he was sure that they were there. Moreover, the purple copper coffin was mysterious and very important. It was definitely related to the primordial divine spirit. If he took it out and those top experts found it, they would most likely kill him and take it away. Therefore, taking out the purple copper coffin here was equivalent to courting death. Under such circumstances, Lu Ming could only choose to attack the weakest point and fight for a chance of survival. Boom! A powerful quasi-emperor aura pressed down on Lu Ming and the others. I'll give you 3 more breaths of time. If you don't move, I'll kill you without mercy. A cold voice sounded. It was the quasi-emperor of the winged men. Go! Many people roared unwillingly, then turned around and rushed toward the weak points. Of course, everyone was very careful. They circulated their divine power and set up layers of defenses around themselves as they slowly flew down. The weak point was like a funnel, causing the smoke to swirl non-stop. Moreover, the range was very large. Lu Ming and the other 2,000 people could fly side by side without any problem. Slowly, they approached the funnel. There was no problem. Then, many people gathered their courage and flew down. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded. Suddenly, a huge divine dragon rushed out from the smoke. This was a 6-clawed divine dragon. It was 1,000 meters long and was completely black. It rushed toward a young man and tore down with its dragon claws. Its power was terrifying. Although the young man was prepared, it was useless. Under the dragon claws, his defenses collapsed and his body exploded in the air. "Be careful, it's the 10,000 dragon seals," someone shouted. This divine dragon was not a real divine dragon. It was formed by the 10,000 dragon seals. The 10,000 dragon seals were actually a kind of formation. Roar! Roar! Following the appearance of the divine dragon, dragon's roar continued to resound. One divine dragon after another appeared. These divine dragons were all formed by the 10,000 dragon seals. There were 6-clawed divine dragons and 7-clawed divine dragons. Every one of them was lifelike. The dragon's roar shook the sky as they charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Screams sounded. Suddenly, more than a dozen people were killed by the divine dragons and torn apart in the void. These divine dragons were very powerful. Even a third-level divine lord would find it difficult to fight against them. Damn it, there's something wrong with this weak point. It's about the same as 33 years ago. Didn't they say that after 33 years, the power of the weak point has decreased? Let's join forces. Many people roared and then joined forces to attack. 7 to 8 people joined forces to fight a divine dragon. Then, they rushed down with all their might. There was also a divine dragon that charged toward Lu Ming and the others. "Be careful!" Man Ning shouted and gathered with the others from the sacred fire saber sect. They slashed out dazzling saber lights. More than a dozen saber lights slashed on a fiery red 6-clawed divine dragon and blocked the divine dragon's attack. Roar! The fiery red divine dragon roared and its dragon claws tore through the air. The 6 dragon claws stepped toward Lu Ming and the others, bringing with them a violent force. Lu Ming activated the battle character art and increased his combat strength by 5 times. He circulated his divine power with all his might. At the same time, the tyrant god's spear condensed and shot out. The spear light collided with a dragon claw and exploded with a violent bang. Lu Ming's body shook and he retreated slightly. What a powerful strength! Lu Ming frowned. The power of these condensed divine dragons was very strong. Ordinary third-level divine lord geniuses really found it hard to contend with them, unless it was those monstrous geniuses. "I'll be the main attacker. You guys support me." Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Man Ning and the rest. Then, an astonishing aura erupted from the tyrant god's spear. At the same time, the wind-extinguishing boots condensed and fused with Lu Ming's feet. Lu Ming directly rushed over. The tyrant god's spear pressed down horizontally. As long as 1,000 meters, it continuously resisted the dragon claws of the 6-clawed divine dragon. After 6 consecutive moves, it was hard to determine the victor. While Man Ning and the rest attacked from the side. More than a dozen saber lights slashed on the divine dragon's body, leaving behind more than a dozen long saber wounds, making the divine dragon roar continuously. Effective. The eyes of Man Ning and the rest lit up, speeding up their attacks. With Lu Ming blocking the divine dragon's attacks, they could unleash their power to their heart's content. That first-level divine lord kid is very strong. Lu Ming's performance also attracted the attention of some people from the winged men race. Many people looked at Lu Ming. A first-level divine lord has such strength. It's unbelievable. I didn't expect that some small races and factions would also have such monstrous geniuses. Should we take him down and force him to reveal his secrets? The winged men race's geniuses discussed. No need. It's not like our winged men race doesn't have such strength. Let's scout the way first. Some winged men race's geniuses shook their heads. Lu Ming didn't know that his performance had already attracted the attention of the winged men race. Under his main attack, the divine dragon retreated step by step. The injuries on its body increased and in the end, Lu Ming's spear swept across its head. Its body directly exploded, turning into energy and dissipating. Chapter 3573. The other divine dragons were also defeated one after another under the joint attack of 7 to 10 people. Among them, there were also some extremely powerful heavens chosen. Their combat strength was much stronger than Man Ning's. They were likely able to jump realms and kill 4th-level Divine Lord existences. With so many people joining forces, defeating the Divine Dragon was nothing difficult. Soon, the Divine Dragons that were just formed were all killed. Lu Ming and the rest lost a few dozen people, which was not too many. The remaining people were divided into different small teams, gathered together, and slowly flew down. Roar! At this moment, another dragon roar reverberated through the sky. This dragon roar was even more terrifying than the previous dragon roar. Following that, a terrifying aura spread out and shrouded everyone. "Is this the dragon's aura?" someone exclaimed. Their faces were ugly because this dragon's aura was too strong. It was like planets were pressing on their bodies and even their souls. They needed to circulate more than half of their strength to resist this dragon's aura. What a strong dragon's aura! Lu Ming frowned. Under the suppression of this dragon's aura, his divine power was extremely difficult to circulate. It was several times more difficult than before. His cultivation was directly suppressed from 1st-level Divine Lord to below Divine Lord. Roar! Roar! At this moment, dragon roars sounded and divine dragons appeared one after another. They were similar to the divine dragons just now, but there were more of them, reaching a shocking several hundred. Not good. This time, not only Lu Ming, but the rest's faces also changed drastically. Now, their strength was suppressed by the dragon's aura and so many divine dragons appeared. How were they going to fight? The moment the several hundred divine dragons appeared, they pounced on the group. Screams sounded. Many people were directly torn apart by the divine dragons. Even if more than 10 people joined forces, it was useless because they were suppressed too badly. If a 4th-level divine lord or above or a divine emperor came in, they would be crushed to death. Roar! 2 divine dragons pounced on Lu Ming and the rest. It's over. Man Ning and the rest's faces changed drastically. Can my primordial divine blood withstand this dragon's aura? At this moment, Lu Ming thought of the primordial divine blood. With a thought, Lu Ming activated a portion of the primordial god blood's power. Immediately, a layer of red light appeared on his body, and that dragon might was neutralized. It really worked. Lu Ming was delighted. The tyrant god's spear swung out, transforming into 2 spear lights that swept towards the 2 divine dragons. After 2 rumbling sounds, he successfully blocked the attacks of the 2 divine dragons. He blocked it. Man Ning and the rest were overjoyed. However, while Lu Ming and the others managed to block it, the others were not so lucky. Hundreds of divine dragons pounced, and in an instant, hundreds of people were killed. The remaining people were scared out of their wits as they frantically retreated. Retreat! Lu Ming, Man Ning, and the others also retreated with the crowd. However, those mystical dragons roared and crazily pounced on them. These divine dragons were formed by the formation. They did not have any intelligence and did not fear death. They only knew how to hunt down the invaders. Thus, people continued to die. After a few breaths, another few hundred people had died. Originally, there were about 2,000 people, but now, there were only about 700 to 800 people left. These were all geniuses from various powerful forces. Any one of them would have been able to suppress everyone in the Taishu Holy Court and become a top expert of the younger generation. However, in a few breaths' time, more than 1,000 of them had fallen. Lu Ming deeply felt the cruelty of the primitive universe. In small places, the competition was cruel. In big places, the competition was even crueler. Run! Many people shouted and frantically retreated. Go back! Go back and explore the way. The winged men's geniuses had completely blocked their retreat. At this moment, thousands of winged men's geniuses attacked together, and the rolling waves of attacks surged towards Lu Ming and the others. Many people were directly killed. You guys are so despicable. Damn it. Winged men, you will die a horrible death. Many people shouted. However, it was useless. The winged men's geniuses continued to attack, and the terrifying attacks suppressed them. There were even quasi-emperors who attacked. With a flash of divine light, more than 10 people were killed. As long as the quasi-emperors did not get within the range of the 10,000 dragon seals, they would be fine. With the winged men's geniuses blocking the way behind and the divine dragons in front, they were in a desperate situation. In the end, many people could only rush towards the weak points, hoping to break out of the encirclement and kill their way out. They gathered together and attacked crazily. They really defeated a few divine dragons and rushed down. Lu Ming, Man Ning, and the others could only turn around and kill their way down. However, there were too many divine dragons. Lu Ming could not protect everyone. After a while, 5 of the sacred fire saber sect's geniuses were killed, and only 6 of them were left. Everyone fought with their lives and paid the price of 500 to 600 people. The remaining 200 people finally broke through the encirclement and reached the bottom. They were about to reach the bottom of the funnel. As long as they rushed down from the bottom of the funnel, they might be able to enter the dragon race's mother planet. However, at this moment, an even more terrifying dragon roar sounded. Then, huge divine dragons appeared. These divine dragons had 9 dragon claws on their abdomens. 9-clawed dragon. There were more than 100 9-clawed dragons. Although these mystical dragons were all fake and had been formed by the formation, the 9-clawed mystical dragons that had been formed were still much stronger than the other mystical dragons. We're finished. We're dead. Many people cried out loudly, their faces full of despair. There were other divine dragons behind them. In front, there was a 9-clawed dragon. They would not survive. This weak point was not that weak. It was too dangerous. It was even more dangerous than the other 18 weak points 33 years ago. 33 years ago, although the other 18 weak points were also very dangerous, some people had passed through them and expressed their views in the illusory sacred jade. They were not that dangerous. It was impossible to break through this place. No one could break through. It was a dead end. Roar. Roar. The 9-clawed divine spirits roared. Their dragon claws stepped on the air, and the geniuses screamed as their bodies were torn apart and crushed. Lu Ming and the others were also attacked by more than 10 9-clawed dragons. Retreat. At this moment, Lu Ming pulled Man Ning and retreated quickly. Now, he could only take care of Man Ning. He could not care about the others from the sacred fire saber sect. Man Ning had given him the illusory sacred jade. He would remember this kindness. In the process of retreating, Lu Ming waved his hand and controlled the gate of domination. He repelled a few divine dragons behind him and avoided the attacks of the 9-clawed dragon in front. However, the others were not so lucky. They were attacked from the front and back and were killed one after another. In an instant, only Lu Ming and Man Ning were left. The others were all dead. Lu Ming and Man Ning naturally attracted the attention of all the divine dragons. The remaining divine dragons pounced on Lu Ming and Man Ning. Their auras were extremely violent. It was as though Lu Ming and Man Ning would be torn apart in the next moment. Chapter 3574. More than a few hundred divine dragons pounced on Lu Ming and Man Ning. Under the terrifying dragon aura, they were like 2 small ants that would be torn apart in an instant. Roar. At this moment, an even more majestic dragon roar was heard. Lu Ming activated all of his primordial divine blood. His body swelled rapidly and turned into a huge primordial divine dragon. After turning into a primordial divine dragon, the surrounding dragon aura did not affect him at all. Moreover, his body exuded an even more ancient and purer dragon aura. Under the pressure of this dragon aura, the divine dragons formed by the 10,000 dragon seals seemed to be greatly suppressed and their strength weakened. Lu Ming stomped his dragon claw and instantly, 7 to 8 divine dragons exploded. Then, the divine dragons surrounded him and more than a dozen divine dragons exploded. This. Man Ning was extremely shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming to turn into a primordial divine dragon. That's a primordial divine dragon. He's a dragon? No, he's a human. That's the primordial divine body. This kid has already cultivated the primordial divine body to the primordial divine blood level. Many winged men roared. He can turn into a primordial divine dragon. If we bring him to the dragon race's mother planet, will we be able to get more opportunities before others? Maybe it will really be useful? The eyes of many sky prides of the human winged tribe lit up. This was especially so for some of the demonic geniuses. The dragon race's mother planet was vast. During its heyday, there were many different kinds of dragon race guarding various places. Although they were later destroyed, there must be many ruins left behind. These ruins might be dangerous, but if they brought someone who had cultivated the primordial divine dragon body, it would definitely be of great help. Many winged men's eyes lit up. Boom! Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming was on a killing spree, tearing apart the divine dragons one by one. Regardless of whether they had 6 claws, 7 claws, or even 9 claws, they were not real divine dragons. They were just formed by the array. They were no match for Lu Ming and were killed by Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, there were not many divine dragons left. Kid, come out quickly. You don't have to continue exploring. At this moment, the winged men's prodigy shouted. Hee hee. Lu Ming replied coldly as he tore apart the last 9-clawed dragon. He floated there with no intention of retreating. Brat, did you hear what I said? Back off, we don't need you to scout the way anymore. Another winged men prodigy roared. Idiots, a bunch of birdmen. Lu Ming said coldly. What did you say? How dare you? Some of the sky prides of the winged men clan roared. Lu Ming actually dared to talk about them like that. Their winged men race was ranked 130 on the Great Desolate 10,000 races list. They were high and mighty, a peak race with a noble status. Lu Ming actually dared to use such a disdainful tone to speak to them. He was courting death. This time, Lu Ming ignored them and looked at the bottom of the funnel. It was as if he could rush into the dragon clan's home planet if he took another step. However, for some reason, Lu Ming still felt a sense of danger. There was also danger. It wasn't that simple. However, Lu Ming still decided to give it a try. It was impossible for him to back off. Here, he still had an advantage when he transformed into the primordial divine dragon. However, if he retreated, he wouldn't be able to resist a quasi-emperor. Lu Ming ignored the winged men and slowly approached the funnel. This attitude made the winged men furious. You're courting death. Go and take this guy down. Suddenly, dozens of winged men prodigies rushed toward Lu Ming. The divine dragon just now had been torn apart by Lu Ming. Therefore, no new divine dragon was formed. The winged men prodigies quickly approached Lu Ming. However, the dragon's might was still there. When these winged men prodigies approached Lu Ming's area, they were suppressed by the dragon's might. Their bodies trembled violently, and their strength rapidly declined. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. He suddenly turned around and charged toward the winged men. 9 dragon claws continuously tore at them. Ah, how dare you! A winged men prodigy roared. Then, he was torn apart by the dragon claws and died on the spot. Following that, the other dragon claws also tore at him. The winged men prodigies screamed as their bodies exploded. In just a few seconds, dozens of winged men prodigies were all killed by Lu Ming. Not a single one was left alive. Lu Ming kept their storage rings. Although these winged men prodigies were very strong, they were suppressed by the 10,000 dragon seals. They were far from being Lu Ming's match and were easily killed by Lu Ming. How dare you! The remaining winged men were stunned. Then, someone roared furiously. His body was filled with cold killing intent. Someone actually dared to kill their winged men prodigies? Was he courting death? Even the races that were stronger than them wouldn't dare to kill their winged men prodigies easily. This was because the winged men had the backing of the angels, one of the top 10 races. Offending them was very likely to offend the angels. Any race would have to think twice before offending them. However, Lu Ming, a first-level Divine Lord Trash, actually dared to kill their winged men prodigies. Moreover, he killed dozens of them. A bunch of mixed birds. I'll kill every single one of you that comes. Do you dare to come? Lu Ming said coldly. His face was filled with disdain. These winged men prodigies were domineering. If they asked him to speak, he would kill them. No matter who they were, he would just kill them. Moreover, he came from the distant Taishu dynasty. No one knew his background. Right now, he was all alone. What did he not dare to do? It didn't matter if you were from the winged men race or the angels race. If you offended him, he would kill you. You. Many winged men's expressions turned ugly. However, no one dared to step forward. Those dozens of people had been killed in an instant. A bunch of mixed birds. You don't dare, right? Lu Ming sneered. Since he had killed dozens of people, killing a few more people was the same. Lu Ming wanted to provoke more winged men prodigies to come in and kill a few more people. As expected, these proud winged men prodigies couldn't take it anymore. They roared, and their killing intent turned into a raging fire that was about to burn. I'll kill him. Who's with me? A winged men prodigy stepped forward. This person's feathers were golden as if they were cast from gold. He was full of majesty. It's Yu Bo. Many winged men's eyes lit up. Yu Bo was a famous prodigy in the winged men race. Although his cultivation was only at the 3rd level Divine Lord realm, he was already famous in the winged men race. He was known to be invincible among his peers. In the winged men race, those who could fight against Yu Bo at the same level could be counted on one hand. Alright, I'll go with Yu Bo. Me too. More than a dozen winged men prodigies stepped forward. They knew that the weak area was suppressed by the dragon's might. Lu Ming had transformed into the primordial divine dragon and wouldn't be suppressed. If they went in, they would be greatly suppressed. Chapter 3575. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was only level 1 Divine Lord after all, while Yu Bo's cultivation was level 3 Divine Lord. Furthermore, his combat power was extremely powerful. Even if he was suppressed, he could also kill Lu Ming. They believed in this. Moreover, there were still other winged men clan Heaven's Prides helping out. Swoosh. Yu Bo and the rest flew over towards Lu Ming's side. Man Ning, hide in my scale. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Man Ning. A huge scale opened up. Many thanks. Man Ning gave her thanks. She knew that if not for Lu Ming, she would definitely have died here already. Figure moving, Man Ning entered one of Lu Ming's scales. Lu Ming's current size was several million meters long. When Man Ning entered a piece of scale, she was like a speck of dust, not affected at all. At this moment, Yu Bo and the rest already entered the range of the weak point. Their figures trembled, their faces changing. Because they felt a powerful suppression. Yu Bo's level 3 Divine Lord cultivation was even suppressed to the level of level 2 Divine Lord here, about the same as just breaking through to level 2 Divine Lord. Level 2 Divine Lord, more than enough to kill that kid. Thick killing intent flashed past Yu Bo's eyes. His combat power was extremely powerful. In the Winged Men clan, in a battle of the same level, not many could match him. And now, his cultivation was even higher than Lu Ming's. He was confident that he could kill Lu Ming. Kid, die for me. Yu Bo gave a cold shout, his body suffused with a resplendent golden light, turning into a wisp of blade edge, slashing towards Lu Ming. However, a long spear appeared in one of Lu Ming's dragon claws. It was the Overlord God Spear. The Overlord God Spear was incomparably huge. With a sweep, it directly destroyed this wisp of blade edge. Kill! Yu Bo bellowed, charging towards Lu Ming. A pair of golden wings emitted a resplendent brilliance, turning into two huge battle blades. They were golden in color, up to 1,000,000 meters long, slashing towards Lu Ming, wanting to cut Lu Ming into two. Go! Lu Ming's heart stirred. The Overlord God Spear flew out, colliding with the opponent's blade light, setting off a violent storm and energy overflowing. Next, Lu Ming stepped into the air. His 9 dragon claws tore through the void and charged toward Yu Bo. Boom boom boom. The void vibrated. Lu Ming's dragon claws slammed down, tearing the void apart. Especially the hegemonic God Spear, it turned into a ray of light. Its speed was astonishing as it constantly stabbed towards Yu Bo. Primordial divine body origin. You think I don't have it? Do you think I don't know how to sever the shackles with a secret technique? Yu Bo said coldly. His body shone even brighter, and a golden battle blade appeared. This battle blade was Yu Bo's secret origin technique. It exuded an ancient aura. It had also severed one of the shackles. Furthermore, Yu Bo's body was unceasingly emitting blade light, making his body look like a battle blade. A type of blade body? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Obviously, Yu Bo had also cultivated a physique secret technique. It was a type of blade body, similar to Di Jiani's primordial spirit sword body. Yu Bo burst out with his full strength, turning into a dazzling blade light, attacking Lu Ming. Dang! It collided with the Overlord God Spear, causing a shocking explosion. The Overlord God Spear was sent flying, but Yu Bo's body was also pushed back. This guy's combat power is not weak. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Yu Bo had been suppressed to the early second layer of the divine Monarch realm, but his combat power was extremely strong. He could already contend with Su Mo. Lu Ming estimated that Yu Bo's combat power at the same level, even if he could not compare to Murong Qiu Shui, it was not much different. Of course, compared to Di Jiani, there was still a gap. A prodigy of this level was already very shocking. But he did not know that Yu Bo was even more shocked. This is the primordial divine body that cultivated the primordial divine blood? It is indeed terrifying, but I must kill him today. Yu Bo roared in his heart, then he shouted, I will be the main attacker, you guys support me. As his voice fell, Yu Bo once again attacked Lu Ming. He became one with the blade, and even the dragon's might was slightly broken. At the same time, the other prodigies of the Winged Men clan attacked from the side. All kinds of attacks were aimed at Lu Ming's head. Insignificant skill. Lu Ming sneered. He circulated his divine power, and a bell floated out. It was the heavenly evil bell. Ding ling ling. The heavenly evil bell rang, and invisible ripples spread out. Yu Bo and the other prodigies of the Winged Men clan were shocked, and their bodies stiffened. Their souls were attacked. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly, and the void-shattering sword was formed. It shattered the void, and sword light flashed. It was too fast. Blood spurted out, and the Winged Men clan experts were all killed by the sword. Only Yu Bo roared at the critical moment, and his figure retreated, avoiding the killing blow. However, one of his wings was still cut off, and the feathers flew everywhere. He was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. You have other origin source secret techniques. Yu Bo roared, and his body retreated rapidly. He did not dare to fight anymore. Lu Ming's strength was strong, and with the origin source secret techniques that attacked the soul, it was flawless. He had to retreat. If I wasn't suppressed, I would have killed you. Before leaving, Yu Bo left a ruthless sentence. It was really embarrassing to be beaten up by Lu Ming, so he wanted to save some face by leaving a ruthless sentence. However, Lu Ming would not let him leave so easily. It's too late to leave now. Stay. Lu Ming shouted coldly, and controlled the void-shattering sword to break the void. He instantly caught up with Yu Bo and attacked him. At the same time, Lu Ming twisted his body, and his 9 claws stepped on the air. He caught up with Yu Bo at an astonishing speed, and his dragon claws continued to claw at him. At the same time, the Overlord God's spear struck down, and the Sovereign's Gate was formed. Roar! A loud roar came from the Sovereign's Gate. Combined with the strength of a 5 awakened sovereign, its power was astonishing. Yu Bo roared and used all his strength. He slashed out a sky full of saber light, blocking the void-shattering sword and the Overlord God's spear. However, he could not block Lu Ming's dragon claws. The dragon claws stepped down, and he coughed up large mouthfuls of blood. His body was almost torn apart, and golden feathers flew everywhere. Then, the Sovereign's Gate pressed down. Yu Bo used his origin source secret technique to block, but he could not block it. The golden saber trembled continuously, and finally exploded. Yu Bo screamed miserably, and blood spurted out of his mouth. He was seriously injured. Moreover, he could not retreat because the Sovereign's Gate was emitting a powerful suction force that attracted him. "I'll send you on your way." Lu Ming's cold voice rang out, and a dragon claw grabbed at Yu Bo. "No." Yu Bo roared, almost scared to death. "Stop. If you dare to kill him, you'll definitely die without a burial place." The winged men's prodigies, and even the quasi-emperors, roared. Yu Bo was not an ordinary prodigy of the winged men's race, but a top prodigy. In the future, he would definitely become a powerhouse and contribute to the winged men's race. It would be a great loss if such a prodigy was killed. However, Lu Ming did not care. Under Yu Bo's despairing gaze, the dragon claw stepped down, and Yu Bo's body exploded. Chapter 3576. Yu Bo's body was directly crushed by Lu Ming's dragon claw. Even his soul couldn't escape. "You're courting death. You're dead. Even if you have 10,000 lives, you're still dead." The winged men roared, especially the quasi-emperors. Their terrifying auras shook the void. "Since you dare to attack me, you should be prepared to be killed by me. I don't care who you are. You're just a mixed bird from the winged men race. I'll kill you all the same." Lu Ming sneered, his domineering aura leaking out. "You bastard, no one can save you." A quasi-emperor from the winged men race roared. "You talk too much. If you want to kill me, come and kill me." Lu Ming sneered. The winged men race quietened down. No one made a move. The quasi-emperors couldn't get close. Otherwise, the 10,000 dragon seals would instantly obliterate them. The strongest among the younger generation was only at the 3rd-level Divine Lord realm. Most importantly, any 3rd-level Divine Lord realm Divine Lord would be suppressed by the dragon aura. Even Yu Bo had died. The others would also suffer the same fate. "You don't dare to come in, yet you're still complaining. A bunch of cowards. A mixed bird will always be a mixed bird." Lu Ming sneered. Many winged men races sky prides were so angry that they almost vomited blood. "Come out and fight if you dare." The winged men races sky prides roared. "You're at the 3rd-level Divine Lord realm, and I'm at the 1st-level Divine Lord realm. You're a race that's ranked 130th on the 10,000 races list. You have powerful bloodlines, yet you're asking me to come out and fight? You're really shameless. Come in and fight. You're suppressed here, so you can have a fair fight with me. If you don't dare to have a fair fight, then shut up." Lu Ming sneered. The winged men races sky prides shut up as they couldn't speak. They were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. Their bloodline talents were so powerful that they could easily crush smaller races at the same level as them. Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't use their cultivation to suppress others. However, Lu Ming was too abnormal. They couldn't do anything about it. "Kid, we'll let you be arrogant for now. If you have the guts, don't come out. The winged men race's sky pride sneered. A bunch of cowards, I can't be bothered to accompany you. Lu Ming said sarcastically. Then, without stopping, he slowly moved towards the weak point. During this period of time, the 10,000 dragon seals were at their weakest. Each of their weak points was at their weakest. After this period of time, they would become stronger again. Lu Ming could not afford to waste time here. It was impossible for Xiao Chen to go out. The winged race quasi-emperor was guarding the place. If he went out, he would only die. It was impossible for him to continue waiting. When the 10,000 dragon seals became stronger, he would be finished. Even if he had the primordial divine dragon body, he was not confident. It was best to leave now. Lu Ming slowly flew to the bottom of the funnel. Nothing strange happened, and no divine dragon was formed. Good chance. Lu Ming didn't hesitate and rushed to the bottom of the funnel. It was as if he had rushed out of a thin film and arrived in a new world. However, at this moment, a dragon's roar shook the world. Then, a dragon claw suddenly appeared in the void. This dragon claw was incomparably huge, covering the sky and grabbing at Lu Ming. Even the dragon's body, which was millions of meters long, looked like an earthworm under the dragon's claw. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. It seemed that he had not really broken through the range of the 10,000 dragon seals. There was still an attack. He twisted his body and rushed forward, wanting to rush out. However, he realized that the void was about to be locked down. It was as if cement had solidified, causing his speed to slow down to that of a turtle. The dragon claw continued to grab, locking onto Lu Ming. There was no way to dodge and he could only take it head-on. Man Ning, I'll send you out first. Lu Ming shouted. His divine power vibrated and he suddenly threw Man Ning out. Since he couldn't avoid it, he might as well send Man Ning away first and return the favor of her giving him the dream divine jade. From then on, they would not owe each other anything. Man Ning was thrown out like a bolt of lightning. In a few breaths, she flew out of the range of the dragon claw and disappeared into the horizon. Roar! Lu Ming roared. He no longer tried to escape. Instead, he charged toward the dragon claw. At the same time, various origin secret techniques were formed. Void-shattering sword, heavenly demon blade, sovereign's gate. There were a total of 11 origin source secret techniques. Regardless of their function, they all rushed out at the same time and rushed towards the dragon claw. Boom! Boom! In the next moment, the 11 origin secret techniques collided with the dragon claw, erupting with a shocking explosion. However, in the next moment, the various origin secret techniques shook violently. Bang! The void-shattering sword was the first to explode, followed by the heavenly demon blade. One origin secret technique after another exploded, turning into energy and dissipating. Lu Ming's body shook violently, and he could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Nestle, how can this dragon claw be so powerful? A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The power of this dragon claw was stronger than he had imagined. The 11 origin secret techniques were destroyed in just a few breaths, causing him to suffer a backlash. However, Lu Ming realized that the light of the dragon claw seemed to have dimmed a little, and its power seemed to have decreased. This meant that the 11 origin secret techniques were still useful, and they had offset a part of the dragon claw's power. However, the dragon claw still grabbed toward Lu Ming. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. Come on, I'll fight you. Lu Ming shouted in his heart. 9 dragon claws continuously stepped out, using the divine dragon aspect art. In an instant, 108 9-clawed dragons were formed and pounced toward the dragon claw. Bang! Bang! The 9-clawed dragon aspect art collided with the dragon claw, and it exploded continuously. 108 9-clawed dragon aspects continued to explode, and soon all of them disappeared. In the end, Lu Ming's body collided with the dragon claw. Boom! The sky shook violently, and a violent force swept out in all directions, as if it was going to devour everything. Lu Ming's body shook violently. At this moment, he felt an unimaginably terrifying force penetrating his body. Crack. He could clearly hear the sound of his bones breaking, and the sound of his muscles tearing apart. The 9 dragon claws exploded instantly, followed by the dragon body. The dragon body that was millions of meters long was also collapsing and exploding continuously. In the end, Lu Ming could no longer maintain the primordial divine dragon body state, and he reverted to his human form. Fortunately, after a series of attacks, the dragon claw finally dimmed, and with a final bang, it turned into light and dissipated. However, Lu Ming's body was also falling downward like a meteorite. Huff. Huff. Fast, too fast. Lu Ming's body rubbed against the air, and he turned into a fireball, landing on a vast land. Am I finally here? This is the Dragon Clan's mother planet, right? Lu Ming muttered. However, he wanted to stop himself from falling, but he realized that the divine power in his body had dried up. Most importantly, his muscles, bones, and meridians were severely damaged, and he couldn't move at all. There was a large amount of divine power stored in the quantifying character art, but this divine power couldn't enter Lu Ming's body, because his meridians were too badly damaged, and they were almost shattered, so he couldn't use his divine power. Chapter 3577. It's over. My injuries are too severe. Lu Ming wailed in his heart. It was really too severe. His muscles, bones, and meridians were nearly shattered. Lu Ming could not even move or stabilize his body. The ground below was getting bigger and bigger. Lu Ming realized that he was indeed falling toward a piece of land. In the end, there was a loud bang and he landed heavily on a barren mountain. The ground shook and gravel flew everywhere. He had created a huge pit in the ground. Pooh! Lu Ming vomited blood. What a hard ground. At this moment, Lu Ming still had the mind to think about this. According to his strength, if he had smashed into an ordinary planet, he would have been able to smash through the planet and cause it to explode. But now, he could only smash a hole in the ground. Lu Ming vomited a few mouthfuls of blood. His eyes were blurry and he nearly fainted. I can't faint. I can't faint. Lu Ming roared in his heart. He forced himself to stay awake and did not faint. The dragon race's mother planet had been sealed for dozens of stellar years. Who knew what the situation was now? Dozens of stellar years was too long. An ordinary star only had a stellar year's lifespan. After such a long time, no one knew how the dragon race's mother planet had evolved. If a desolate beast were to come, wouldn't Lu Ming be buried in the mouth of a demonic beast? Let's leave this place first. Lu Ming whispered and struggled to get up. But the moment he moved, his body felt like it was being torn apart. The key point was that he could not move. No, my injuries are too severe. All my bones, muscles, and meridians have been shattered. Lu Ming sighed. What shocked Lu Ming the most was that even the star core had small cracks. The 11 star cores were filled with cracks. This was an unimaginable injury. Was this still a weak point? It was too dangerous. Lu Ming dared to bet that not many people below the 3rd layer of the Divine Lord realm could barge in. The other 18 weak points are definitely not that dangerous. Otherwise, not many people would be able to enter. However, 33 years ago, those 18 weak points seemed to be very dangerous. Most of the people who went there died. I don't know how many people made it in. Lu Ming pondered. Don't let your imagination run wild. The most important thing right now is to heal your injuries. Lu Ming took a deep breath. Then, he circulated the heaven and earth myriad Tao arts to absorb the divine energy in the outside world to heal his injuries. Immediately, a large amount of divine energy in the air converged on Lu Ming and burrowed into Lu Ming's body like tiny snakes. This, Lu Ming could not help but widen his eyes in shock. There was no other reason. The density of the divine qi here was too shocking. It was ridiculously dense, many times denser than the outside world. Zhang Xian casually drove his cultivation technique, and the concentrated divine energy slithered into his body like tiny snakes. Moreover, not only was the divine energy rich, but it was also extremely pure. It was easy to absorb, refine, and transform into one's own divine power. It is said that the Dragon Clan's mother planet was sealed for dozens of stellar years before it recovered. This is indeed worthy of the word recovery. It is indeed worthy of being the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Lu Ming exclaimed. The Dragon Clan's mother planet was born from the beginning of heaven and earth. On it, 49 primeval divine dragons were born. It was an unbelievable planet and one of the top cultivation holy lands in the universe. Back then, there were countless divine dragons living here. 5 claws, 6 claws, 7 claws, all the way to 9 claws. Countless divine dragons cultivated and reproduced here, scattering to various parts of the universe. Back then, the Dragon Clan relied on the Dragon Clan's mother planet to become one of the most powerful races in the primitive universe. From this, it could be seen how extraordinary this planet was. However, this made Lu Ming overjoyed. The divine aura was so rich. To Lu Ming, this was undoubtedly great news. It could allow him to heal his injured body quickly. Lu Ming adjusted his breathing and constantly used the universe myriad Tao technique to absorb the rich divine energy between heaven and earth. The rich divine energy seemed to have turned into a substance and constantly entered Lu Ming's body. It turned into a warm energy that flowed into Lu Ming's limbs and bones, healing Lu Ming's injured body. His muscles, bones, and meridians were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. After about 10 minutes, Lu Ming's injuries had partially healed. He tried to move and found that he could already move. Although when he moved, there would still be bursts of tearing pain. Unfortunately, there were still many cracks on the star core and there was no sign of recovery. It was probably because the time was too short. Not good. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed because he felt that there were living beings rapidly approaching. They were surrounding him from all directions at a very fast speed. Obviously, when he fell, it attracted the living beings on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. My current state. Lu Ming frowned. His current state was too poor. His star core was full of cracks, and he couldn't even use a trace of divine energy. I need to recover as soon as possible. Lu Ming couldn't just sit there and wait for death. He continued to use the universe myriad Tao technique to heal his injured body. The more he recovered, the better. The more he recovered, the more hope there would be. The sound of breaking wind rang out, and after a dozen breaths, over a dozen figures appeared around the crater. Over a dozen burly men, both middle-aged and young, surrounded Lu Ming. Human race, no, that's not right. Lu Ming's gaze swept over them and he was surprised. These people were in human form and didn't look much different from the human race. They were wearing black armor and had powerful auras. However, what made them different from humans was that they had scales on their foreheads. Furthermore, there were scales on their necks. Those were clearly dragon scales. Furthermore, there was a faint dragon aura coming from their bodies. Dragon men, they're dragon men, but they're not the same as the dragon men outside. Various thoughts flashed across Lu Ming's mind. The dragon men outside had the bloodline of the dragon race, but they had tails behind them. They looked more like beast men and were more ferocious. Some people said that the dragon men were a new race born from the union of divine dragons and humans. Others said that the dragon men were the descendants of desolate dragons and humans. But these dragon men looked more like humans. They didn't have tails behind them. Besides some scales on their bodies, they were no different from humans. Are they from beyond the heavens? They should be. That fireball fell from the sky. They must be from beyond the heavens. Legend has it that the people from beyond the heavens are all devils. They are heinous and will destroy us. This person from beyond the heavens should be injured. Let's take this opportunity to kill him. The dragon men were talking to each other. They stared at Lu Ming with unfriendly eyes. Finally, their gazes fell on a young man. This young man was very burly, and his muscles were bulging. He was filled with the beauty of strength. He looked at Lu Ming, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. The people from beyond the heavens cannot be left alive. They must be killed, or they will bring disaster to us. Chapter 35-78. It's not that easy to kill me. Lu Ming said coldly as he finished cultivating the universe myriad Tao scripture. He looked around, trying to find a way to escape. Although he was injured, his soul power was still there. Hence, he knew the cultivation levels of these people. The highest cultivation level was only in the third king god realm. The rest were in the second king god realm and first king god realm. If he had been at his peak, he could have killed all of them with one slap. However, his injuries were too serious. He would not be able to use much strength. He would be killed by these people. A tiger would be bullied by a dog when it was down. Oh right, I still have the primordial divine blood. I should be able to use it. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. His injuries were serious. Although he could not use his origin secret technique, he still had the primordial divine blood. He immediately tried to communicate with the primordial divine blood. It went smoothly. A part of the primordial divine blood's energy flowed into Lu Ming's body from his heart. Roar. A dragon's roar came from Lu Ming's body. Wait, the dragon's aura. He's not an outsider. Don't attack him. Suddenly, the burly young man's eyes widened as he shouted. Originally, the others were about to attack, but at this moment, they couldn't help but stop. You think I'm one of you? Oh right, I have the primordial divine dragon's blood. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. In an instant, dozens of thoughts flashed through his mind. Then, he had an idea. As he controlled the primordial divine blood, a layer of dragon scales appeared on his skin. A powerful dragon's aura emanated from him. Dragon's aura. What a powerful dragon's aura. He's one of us. He's also a dragon man. He's not from the outside world. Instantly, the black-armored dragon men shouted and withdrew their auras. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed like he had made the right bet. Brother, what's going on? Why did you smash a hole in the ground? I thought someone from the outside world had come in. The burly young man laughed. There's someone from the outside world here. I was cultivating nearby. When I saw someone from the outside world land, I wanted to kill him. However, I was not his match. I was severely injured and fell from the sky. Lu Ming said. He had found a good excuse for falling and injuring himself. I see. Where's that person from the outside world? The burly young man and the others' faces immediately became serious, and they looked around vigilantly. That person from beyond the sky must have been injured when he came in. After injuring me, he left immediately. He shouldn't be around here. Lu Ming said. I see. The burly young man and the others. Brother, which faction are you from? I see that you're heavily injured. Why don't we send you back? The burly young man said. He had a good heart. I don't have any forces. I'm cultivating alone outside. So you're a loose cultivator. We're from the nearby Black Dragon clan. My name is Feng Zhou. Why don't you and I return to the Black Dragon clan first and recuperate? The burly young man said. Lu Ming pondered for a moment. However, since the other party thought that he was a dragon man, he did not have any hostility. He seemed to be sincere. Okay, I'll have to trouble you then, brother He. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. There were a few reasons why he agreed to the request. First, the other party did not have any hostility. Lu Ming's soul force was much stronger than the other party. His spiritual sense was sharp. If the other party had any hostility or killing intent towards him, he would be able to sense it. But Peng Zhou's attitude was sincere. That was why he agreed. After all, he really needed a place to heal. It was too dangerous to be alone outside. Second, the Dragon Clan's mother planet was too big. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack to find Autumn Moon and Xianyanqing. It was better to blend in with the locals and use their connections to find Autumn Moon and Xianyanqing. It was much better than searching alone. Based on these two considerations, Lu Ming agreed. I'm Lu Ming. Lu Ming introduced himself. Brother Lu, let's go. Peng Zhou waved his hand and a battle sword flew out. There was a black dragon statue on the sword. It was quite domineering. The battle sword expanded rapidly, becoming 100 meters long and 10 meters wide. Lu Ming jumped up and landed on the sword. He had borrowed the power of the primitive divine blood. He could still fight. Let's go back. Peng Zhou said. He controlled the sword and flew in a direction. The others followed Peng Zhou. Oh. They're all divine kings. Why are they flying so slowly? Lu Ming was surprised. He realized that Peng Zhou was in the third layer of the Divine King realm. The others were in the second or first layer of the Divine King realm. However, they were flying very slowly. Outside, a God King was flying at full speed. His speed was astonishing, allowing him to cross the universe and planets. It wouldn't take long for him to cross a galaxy. However, Peng Zhou and the others were many times slower. Maybe it has something to do with the environment of the Dragon Clan's mother planet? Lu Ming muttered. Just like the primordial god spirit world that Lu Ming had entered previously, their flying speed was also greatly affected in that place. On the way, Lu Ming circulated his cultivation method and absorbed divine qi to heal himself. At the same time, he chatted with Peng Zhou. Multitasking was nothing to Lu Ming. He learned a lot through chatting. Peng Zhou was the young master of the Black Dragon Clan, a force nearby. He was cultivating outside when he suddenly saw someone fall from the sky. He thought that it was someone from the outer world, so he went to check it out. He happened to meet Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming found out that the environment of the Dragon Clan's mother planet was completely different from the current one. In the past, the cultivation environment of the Dragon Clan's mother planet was extremely bad. The highest cultivation base of the Dragon Clan's mother planet was only a peak heavenly god. No one had broken through to the Divine King realm. However, 100 years ago, the Dragon Clan's mother planet suddenly changed and erupted. Endless divine qi appeared and everything grew crazily. Countless divine herbs and natural treasures appeared. The Dragon Clan's mother planet seemed to have recovered. Everyone's cultivation base also skyrocketed. Divine King realm cultivators sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain. Currently, there were peak Divine King realm cultivators on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. As for Peng Zhou, he was only a level 1 heavenly god 100 years ago. Now, he was already a level 3 heavenly god. He broke through so many levels in 100 years. Lu Ming was shocked. Peng Zhou was only a level 1 heavenly god 100 years ago. Now, he was a level 3 heavenly god. In the Dragon Clan's mother planet, the highest cultivation base was only a peak heavenly god. Now, the highest cultivation base was a peak divine king. This speed was terrifying and unimaginable. Lu Ming had the quantifying character formula and had many fortuitous encounters along the way. However, his cultivation base did not improve so quickly. Chapter 3579. In 100 years, their cultivation had soared so much. It was simply a miracle. Moreover, it was not an exception. Many people's cultivation had soared. Peng Zhou and the others claimed to be Dragonians and possessed the bloodline of the divine dragon. Lu Ming speculated that the reason why these people could improve so quickly was probably related to the divine dragon bloodline. However, it was only a part of the relationship. The other's cultivation speed must also be very fast here. The dragon clan's mother planet was originally one of the most magical planets in the universe. The cultivation environment back then must have been heaven-defying. Later, it was sealed by the divine dragon clan and fell silent. After being sealed for so many years, it suddenly erupted. Therefore, it created an unprecedented cultivation environment. Lu Ming continued to speculate in his heart as his eyes lit up. No wonder all the geniuses in the universe rushed here, all wanting to enter the dragon clan's mother planet. Not to mention other things, this kind of cultivation environment was already a great opportunity. An hour later, a mountain peak appeared in front of them. In front of the mountain peak, there was a huge city. This city was the Black Dragon Clan. After an hour of healing, Lu Ming's injuries were much better. His muscles, bones, and meridians were barely condensed together. However, there were still many cracks and bursts of stabbing pain could still be felt. However, Lu Ming could already move freely without relying on the primordial divine blood. They entered the city. The Black Dragon Clan covered a large area and was the most powerful force in this area. As the minority of the Black Dragon Clan, Peng Zhou naturally occupied a huge courtyard with hundreds of rooms. He arranged for Lu Ming to stay in one of the rooms. Let's start healing. Lu Ming did not delay at all. After settling down, he immediately began to circulate the universe myriad Tao technique to heal his injuries. The divine qi between heaven and earth was like a small dragon that drilled into Lu Ming's body. It was too rich. This divine qi was constantly transformed into Lu Ming's divine power. A portion of it entered his muscles, bones, and meridians to repair his injured body. A portion of it entered his 11 star cores to repair them. Lu Ming's injuries were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. His life force was very strong, and his physical body recovered very quickly. In just 3 days, his physical body was completely healed without leaving behind any sequelae. Unfortunately, the star core was still filled with cracks. Although he had recovered a little in the past 3 days, allowing Lu Ming to barely use his divine power, he could only unleash the power of a peak heavenly god now. However, the divine qi here is extremely dense. I'm afraid that it will take at most 2 years for the star core to fully recover and return to its peak state. Lu Ming thought. After 3 days of cultivation, Lu Ming was even more aware of the extraordinariness of this place. The divine qi was unbelievably dense. His injuries were really serious. Even his star core had been shattered. It could be said that he was in an extremely dangerous situation. This kind of injury, if outside, would be difficult to recover without tens of thousands of years. Problems with the star core are the most difficult to solve. But here, Lu Ming was confident that he could fully recover within 2 years. Now, with each passing day, his strength would recover a little. I need to quickly recover my strength so that I can protect myself. I wonder what are the other 18 weak points like. The other weak points shouldn't be that dangerous. Some people must have entered. The Winged Men clan will most likely enter from the other weak points. I must quickly recover to my peak state. Otherwise, it will be very dangerous if I encounter the Winged Men clan. Lu Ming felt a sense of crisis. He continued to circulate his energy to heal his injuries. After 3 days, Lu Ming's cultivation base had recovered to the first king god realm. After another 10 days, Lu Ming's cultivation base had recovered to the third king god realm. The recovery speed was gratifying. On this day, Lu Ming heard a commotion outside. It seemed to be very chaotic. Lu Ming frowned. This was Feng Zhou's residence. Feng Zhou was the young master of the Black Dragon family. What had happened to his residence to become so noisy? Lu Ming decided to go and have a look. Lu Ming walked out of the room and passed through a corridor. He saw a group of people carrying a stretcher hurriedly inside. Lu Ming walked over to take a look and discovered that the person lying on the stretcher was actually Feng Zhou. At this moment, Feng Zhou's face was pale and his aura was weak. There was no fluctuation of divine power on his body. What happened? Lu Ming pulled a middle-aged man and asked. The young master was exploring the Black Dragon Valley. He was attacked by the dragon beasts. The dragon vein was destroyed. Sigh. The middle-aged man heaved a long sigh. Black Dragon Valley? The dragon vein was destroyed? Lu Ming was puzzled. I don't want to talk to you anymore. We have to take care of the young master. Then, the middle-aged man carried Feng Zhou into a room. He seems to be badly injured. Lu Ming frowned. Feng Zhou had just returned, so he shouldn't disturb him. Lu Ming returned to his room and continued to cultivate. One day later, his cultivation base had recovered a little. However, he hadn't reached the fourth king god realm yet. At this moment, Lu Ming finished his cultivation and decided to go and see Feng Zhou. After all, Feng Zhou had brought him back to the Black Dragon family and allowed him to recover in peace. He was indebted to him. Now that Feng Zhou was injured, he couldn't leave him alone. When he came to Feng Zhou's room, a maid was guarding outside. Young Master Lu Ming, the young master is resting. The maid stopped Lu Ming. Before Lu Ming came here, Feng Zhou had introduced him to Lu Ming. Therefore, the maid knew Lu Ming and knew that Lu Ming was a friend that Feng Zhou had brought back. I want to see brother Feng Zhou and see how his injuries are. Lu Ming said. But, the maid wanted to say something else. Let brother Lu in. Feng Zhou's voice came from the room. The maid nodded and pushed the door open. Lu Ming walked in. Feng Zhou was sitting at a table in the room, drinking alone. His injuries didn't seem to be serious. However, his breathing was weak, just like an ordinary person. Brother He, what happened to you? Lu Ming asked. Brother Lu, my dragon vein was destroyed. I'm a cripple now. Feng Zhou smiled miserably, a trace of despair appearing in his eyes. A cripple? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Yes, we dragon men have a dragon vein in our bodies. The dragon vein is the key to cultivation. Now that the dragon vein is destroyed, even if we have a star core, we're still crippled and can't use divine power. Feng Zhou said miserably and drank another cup of wine. Brother He, what's going on? I heard that you went to the Black Dragon Valley. Where is the Black Dragon Valley? Lu Ming asked. Brother Lu, do you know about ancient ruins? Feng Zhou asked. Ancient ruins? Lu Ming was surprised and shook his head. Feng Zhou didn't take it seriously and said, Brother Lu, you're an itinerant cultivator. Perhaps you don't know much. Legend has it that our planet is the planet of the divine dragons. We're all descendants of the divine dragons. In the ancient times, this planet was incomparably glorious. Countless divine dragons lived on this planet, and there were countless experts and powerful forces. Unfortunately, during the apocalyptic war, countless extraterrestrials attacked this planet, and countless divine dragons were killed. After the divine dragons were destroyed, the powerful forces of the divine dragons fell apart. What was left behind after the destruction of those forces were ancient ruins or ancient sacred grounds. Chapter 3580. Lu Ming knew very well that the world-ending battle Feng Zhou was talking about should be a battle that happened dozens of years ago when other races attacked the Divine Dragon clan. That battle directly killed a large portion of the Divine Dragon clan. Feng Zhou continued, Black Dragon Valley was inhabited by the Black Dragon clan in ancient times. Later on, the Black Dragon clan was destroyed, but the Black Dragon Valley remained. However, it has always been sealed. My Black Dragon clan is a descendant of the Black Dragon clan. 100 years ago, the Black Dragon Valley's seal loosened, and we could enter the Black Dragon Valley. There are countless treasures in the Black Dragon Valley. After Feng Zhou's explanation, Lu Ming finally understood what happened. 100 years ago, the dragon race's mother planet had been revived. Some ancient ruins and holy lands had also been revived, bursting forth with boundless mysteries. Those that had been sealed began to loosen, and those that were previously inaccessible were now accessible. The Black Dragon Valley originally had many seals, and it was difficult to enter. However, 100 years ago, the seals loosened, and it became accessible. There were large amounts of treasures inside. The Black Dragon clan also relied on the Black Dragon Valley to rise rapidly. The cultivation of the Black Dragon clan members increased explosively. 100 years ago, the highest cultivation of the Black Dragon clan was only a 5th-level heavenly god. Now, there were a lot of divine kings. However, the treasures in the Black Dragon Valley couldn't be taken casually. It was very dangerous inside. After so many years, a large number of dragon beasts had been bred inside. These dragon beasts didn't have intelligence, but their strength was shocking, and they were abnormally fierce. In these years, many people from the Black Dragon clan had died in the dragon beasts' mouths. A few days ago, Feng Zhou and some people from the Black Dragon clan entered the Black Dragon Valley to explore. Feng Zhou was seriously injured by a dragon beast, and his dragon vein was destroyed, becoming a cripple. Dragon vein? Lu Ming was curious. This was the first time he heard of a dragon vein. If the dragon vein was destroyed, one's cultivation would be crippled. This was different from the outside world. Perhaps it was related to the Divine Dragon clan. Although Lu Ming was curious, he didn't show it. After all, he was pretending to be a dragon man from the dragon clan's mother planet. If he was curious, wouldn't he be exposed? Just as Lu Ming wanted to find an excuse to check on some of the dragon veins, there was a commotion outside. Young Master He Chuan, young master is resting. Feng Zhou's maid's voice came from outside. Get out of the way. I know that his dragon vein is crippled, but he is not crippled. A cold voice came from outside. He Chuan. Kuo Zhou frowned, then got up and walked outside. Lu Ming was curious and followed him out. There were 6 or 7 people in the yard. One of them was a young man who looked about the same age as Feng Zhou. He had a cold expression on his face. Peng Zhou, you're out. You look good and your body is fine. The young man smiled. Cousin, are you looking for me? Xianzhou Road. He Chuan was Feng Zhou's cousin, the son of Feng Zhou's second uncle. Peng Zhou, I need to discuss something with you. He Chuan rolled his eyes and said. What's the matter? Peng Zhou asked. Feng Zhou, now that your dragon vein has been destroyed, you can no longer cultivate and have no battle strength. According to the rules, you can no longer be in charge of the Black Dragon clan. Why don't you give me the Black Dragon token? He Chuan said. Hearing this, Peng Zhou's expression changed drastically. He looked at He Chuan in disbelief and said, You want my Black Dragon token? Peng Zhou, it's useless for you to keep the Black Dragon token with you. Moreover, your dragon vein has been destroyed. To put it bluntly, you'll be a cripple in the future. What's the point of keeping the Black Dragon token? You don't have the qualifications to hold the Black Dragon token. He Chuan continued, but his voice was cold. You. Peng Zhou's expression was extremely ugly and painful. His dragon vein had just been destroyed, and He Chuan actually brought people to ask for the Black Dragon token. He found it hard to believe. In the past, his relationship with He Chuan was very good, like brothers. This time, the reason why he was injured by the dragon beast and his dragon vein was destroyed was entirely because of He Chuan. In the Black Dragon Valley, it was He Chuan who was chased by the dragon beast. Peng Zhou risked his life to block the dragon beast and saved He Chuan's life. As for himself, he was injured by the dragon beast and his dragon vein was destroyed. He became a cripple because he saved He Chuan. But now, in just 2 days, He Chuan actually brought people to seize his Black Dragon token. It was hard for him to accept. The previous patriarch of the Black Dragon clan was Peng Zhou's father. 100 years ago, the Dragon clan's mother planet revived and the Black Dragon Valley's seal loosened. His father entered the Black Dragon Valley to investigate and was killed by the dragon beast inside. The position of patriarch of the Black Dragon clan was originally going to fall on Peng Zhou's head. However, Peng Zhou was still young and temporarily did not officially take charge. Instead, he used his status as the young patriarch to jointly manage the Black Dragon clan with the elders. Furthermore, Peng Zhou's talent was extremely high. As the number one of the younger generation of the Black Dragon clan, he was indeed qualified to inherit the Black Dragon clan. The Black Dragon token was the symbol of the Black Dragon clan's patriarch. It was also the key to entering the Black Dragon Valley. Only the patriarch of the Black Dragon clan can wield the Black Dragon token. Hey Chuan, you don't have the qualifications to wield it. Why should I give it to you? Peng Zhou coldly said. Earlier, he called the other party his cousin. But now, his heart was cold and he directly called the other party's name. That's right, only the patriarch can wield the Black Dragon token. But now that you're crippled, you're a cripple. You definitely don't have the qualifications to wield it. As for me, as the strongest genius of the Black Dragon clan, the position of the future patriarch is mine. Tell me, can I wield the Black Dragon token? He Chuan coldly laughed. Since he had already spoken, he no longer hid his ambition. You still want to seize the patriarch position of the Black Dragon clan? Don't even think about it. Peng Zhou furiously roared. Don't even think about it? Peng Zhou, don't forget that you're now a cripple. You no longer have the qualifications. In the Black Dragon clan, other than me, who else has the qualifications? He Chuan coldly laughed, revealing a ridiculing expression. I was injured by the dragon beast because I wanted to save you. You're ungrateful, despicable, and shameless. Peng Zhou loudly roared. Peng Zhou, don't talk nonsense. He Chuan loudly shouted. His eyes were cold as he said, you were greedy and wanted to take away the treasures you saw. That's why you were injured by the dragon beast. You actually said it was to save me. He Chuan, you're too despicable, too shameless. You. Peng Zhou was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His eyes were red and he almost vomited blood. He was obviously injured by the dragon beast because he wanted to save He Chuan. But now, not only did He Chuan not admit it, he even said that he was slandering him. Not only that, he even wanted to take away his Black Dragon token and said that he was despicable. He understood that He Chuan's previous good relationship with him was all fake, a pretense. This was an ingrate who would counterattack as soon as he had the chance. However, he would definitely not hand over the Black Dragon token. This was left to him by his father. He would definitely not give it to others. Chapter 3581. Master He, you tell me. You were at the Black Dragon Valley. You saw it all. Was it because I was trying to save He Chuan that I was injured by the dragon beast? Feng Zhou looked at a middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was one of Feng Zhou's subordinates. He used to work for his father, and later he worked for him. He was the only one who had seen the truth in the Black Dragon Valley. Sigh, young Master Feng Zhou, why do you have to frame young Master He Chuan? You were injured by the dragon beast because of your greed. No one will blame you if you tell the truth. Black sighed. You betrayed me too. Qi Zhou roared, his eyes almost popping out of his head. Peng Zhou, I know you want to pretend to be a good person, to pretend to be innocent, to pretend that you were injured in order to save me, to get rid of your own responsibility, but the truth is the truth, you can't get rid of it. Well, now hand over the Black Dragon token, and you can continue to stay in the Black Dragon clan. Eat and drink well, I won't treat you unfairly. He Chuan sneered. Everything was under his control. Today, he must get the Black Dragon token and take control of the Black Dragon family. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. Thinking back to what happened in the Black Dragon Valley, he felt a wave of lingering fear. He saw a type of divine medicine, and his greed was aroused. He wanted to pick it, but he was attacked by a powerful dragon beast. Fortunately, that idiot from Fengzhou arrived and saved him. Furthermore, the dragon veins had been destroyed by the dragon beast. This was truly great news. Don't even think about it. Even if I die, I won't give the Black Dragon token to a despicable person like you. Kuo Zhou roared. Fengzhou, don't be stubborn. Young Master Heichuan has already given you enough face. If you continue to be stubborn, even if young Master Heichuan doesn't make a move, I won't be able to stand by and watch. On the side, Heida shouted, taking the opportunity to perform well in front of Heichuan. You heartless bastard, get out of my sight. Kuo Zhou roared. Pengzhou, you better face reality. Do you still think you're the #1 genius of the Black Dragon clan? You're a cripple now, nothing. If you don't hand over the Black Dragon token, don't blame me for being merciless. Heida snorted coldly. Relying on his master's power, he walked towards Heichuan step by step. At the side, Heichuan sneered as he watched. He had no intention of stopping them. Originally, he had come here today with the intention of directly snatching Feng Prefecture if they did not hand it over. Now that Blackie had made a move, it would save him the trouble of doing it himself. Master Hei, you dare? Peng Zhou roared and couldn't help but retreat. Stubborn, then I'll take it myself. Black shouted coldly and took a step forward. His body was like a phantom as he rushed toward Fengzhou and clawed at Fengzhou. With Peng Prefecture's current state, there was no way they could avoid it. Just as Black Dada was about to grab Fengzhou, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and grabbed Black Dada's wrist. No one knew when the palm had appeared, because it was too fast. The one who made a move was naturally Lu Ming. He had been watching silently by the side previously. Although he didn't know the specific details, he could more or less guess some things through the conversation just now. Moreover, from the fact that Fengzhou could save him and let him recuperate here, it could be seen that Fengzhou was benevolent. Lu Ming naturally believed in Fengzhou. Therefore, when Black Dada made a move, he did not hesitate to make a move. Kid, it's you. Black Dada was taken aback and looked at Lu Ming. He was very surprised that Lu Ming could actually grab his wrist. When he rescued Lu Ming back then, he also followed beside Fengzhou and personally investigated Lu Ming. Lu Ming was seriously injured. Moreover, according to his aura, Lu Ming's aura was very weak. He was just a heavenly god realm trash. Now, he could actually grab his wrist? He was careless. Black Dada thought that he was careless. He did not take Lu Ming seriously at all previously. Therefore, his wrist was grabbed by Lu Ming in a moment of carelessness. Now, get lost immediately. Lu Ming said lightly. What did you say? Kid, you're just a heavenly god realm trash. How dare you talk nonsense? I will suppress you first. Black Dada laughed loudly. Previously, Lu Ming was injured. His star core was cracked, and his aura was weak. He did look like a heavenly god realm expert. Boom! Black Dada exerted all his strength. His first realm of King God realm energy burst out like a storm, attacking Lu Ming's wrist. In his opinion, this attack could definitely break Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming would definitely show an expression of disbelief and despair. He could already see Lu Ming's expression. In the next moment, there was no movement. There was no movement at all. Black Dada's god power rushed towards Lu Ming like a stone sinking into the sea. It did not even cause a ripple. How could you? Black Dada opened his eyes wide, looking at Lu Ming in disbelief. Trash. Lu Ming said coldly. Then, he exerted more strength in his hand and squeezed. Crack. The sound of bones breaking resounded. Black Dada's pupils dilated rapidly. His face twisted. A moment later, he screamed in agony. My hand! Black Dada screamed miserably. One of his arms had turned into a fried dough twist. Bam! Lu Ming's palm trembled slightly and one of Black's large arms exploded. Black was sent flying backward and slammed heavily into the wall of the courtyard, creating a huge hole in the wall. He was embedded in the wall and spat out mouthfuls of blood. He was crippled. His dragon vein was also destroyed. He was now a cripple. Thinking about that, his eyes were filled with despair. A moment ago, he thought he saw Lu Ming's disbelief and despair. However, after 2 breaths, he did not see those expressions on Lu Ming's face. Instead, he saw them on his own face. Life was unpredictable. It's really hard. Lu Ming muttered. He was not talking about Black Dada. He was talking about the wall of the courtyard. Although he had just used his second realm of King God realm energy, this kind of energy could break half of a planet outside. Ordinary meteorites would definitely shatter. However, in this place, he had only broken a small part of the wall. The Dragon Clan's mother planet was indeed extraordinary. It was even more extraordinary than the primitive god spirit world. Lu Ming had read about the Dragon Clan's mother planet in the illusory divine jade. It was one of the earliest planets in the universe. It contained countless secrets. Lu Ming's thoughts drifted. On the other hand, Peng Zhou, He Chuan, and the others were stunned. They opened their eyes wide, looking at Lu Ming. They had never thought that Lu Ming would be so strong that he could kill Black Dada in one move. Kid, I didn't expect you to hide your strength. He Chuan coldly looked at Lu Ming. Chapter 3582. He Chuan had already investigated Lu Ming's background. He had learned from Haida that Lu Ming was a rogue cultivator who was injured by someone from the outer world and was saved by Feng Zhou. His cultivation should be in the heavenly god realm. This was the information that he had obtained. Therefore, he simply ignored Lu Ming, who was standing by the side. He did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. He had never thought that Lu Ming would be able to kill Haida in seconds. Now, get out of my sight. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He Chuan's face darkened and his eyes flashed like a poisonous snake. He stared at Lu Ming and said, Kid, you're not bad. I'll give you a chance. Join me and be my dog. You'll do whatever I ask you to do and I'll forget about what happened today. Seems like you're deaf. I asked you to get out of my sight but you didn't hear me. I'll give you 3 breaths of time. 3. Lu Ming started counting down. He Chuan's face darkened and he said coldly, You shameless thing. You think you can be arrogant in front of us just because you're strong? Let's attack together and destroy his dragon vein. We'll turn him into a useless dog just like Feng Zhou. Boom! He Chuan attacked personally and a powerful aura burst out. Second layer King God Realm. That was He Chuan's cultivation. The other people who had come with He Chuan also attacked. 2 of them were second layer King God Realm while the others were first layer King God Realm. A total of 6 people charged toward Lu Ming. Even if Lu Ming was a second layer King God Realm cultivator, he would be crushed into pieces by so many experts. Oh no. Brother Lu, don't worry about me. Run. Feng Zhou shouted with a pale face. It's too late to leave now. He Chuan sneered. Leave? Who said I'm leaving? Lu Ming smiled faintly. The next moment, his body flashed and he pounced on He Chuan and the others like a flash of lightning. Then, boom! Boom! In an instant, all 5 figures crashed into the wall, following in He Da's footsteps, and were embedded in the wall. Only He Chuan was left. Of course, it was Lu Ming who had deliberately kept him. He Chuan's pupils widened rapidly. His hair stood on end, his blood flow accelerated, and his heart beat violently. At this moment, he felt as if his mind had stopped working. What's going on? How could this be? He Chuan was stunned. He had brought 2 second Sky of King God Realm warriors here. Although they were weaker than him, the difference wasn't big. However, Lu Ming had killed them in just a blink. This was still the cultivation of a heavenly deity. Cowardly my ass. Back off, He Chuan roared in his heart. At this moment, he only had one thought, and that was to retreat, leave this place as soon as possible, and then call for reinforcements to suppress Lu Ming. It's too late to retreat now. Lu Ming's figure was like the wind. His speed was astonishing. He appeared in front of He Chuan and stared coldly at He Chuan. Ah! He Chuan screamed in fright and attacked with all his might. The sword light was like a dragon as it slashed towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming struck out with his palm and the sword light shattered. Lu Ming's claw grabbed onto He Chuan's shoulder. Crack! The sound of bones breaking reverberated. He Chuan's shoulder was crushed. He Chuan screamed in agony. Stop! At this moment, an angry roar came from the sky. A powerful aura flooded the area. A middle-aged man appeared in the sky. His eyes were cold and gloomy. Father, come and save me. Destroy this kid. I want him to die a horrible death. He Chuan was overjoyed when he saw the middle-aged man. He shouted excitedly. Let go of my son and I will spare your life. The middle-aged man stomped on the ground. His powerful aura was like a storm, pressing down on Lu Ming. 4th Sky of King God Realm. Lu Ming was startled. He knew that the middle-aged man had the cultivation of the 4th Sky of King God Realm. 4th Sky of King God Realm. I want to see how you can spare my life. Lu Ming smiled indifferently. His palms suddenly exerted strength. A powerful energy burst out. He Chuan's body was like a meteorite, smashing into the ground. Boom! The ground rumbled and a huge crater was created. The ground here was incomparably hard. He Chuan had smashed a huge hole in the ground. It could be seen that He Chuan had suffered a powerful blow. He lay in the huge hole, spitting out blood. His body was like a pile of mud, unable to move at all. You want to die? The middle-aged man was enraged. His eyes were filled with rage and killing intent. His body swelled up as more scales appeared on the surface of his skin. His claws turned into sharp claws that resembled the claws of a dragon and he pounced toward Lu Ming. His aura was wild. He was much stronger than He Chuan. However, the 4th Sky of King God Realm was too weak in Lu Ming's eyes. Although Lu Ming had just recovered to the 3rd Sky of King God Realm, Lu Ming could control 11 kinds of God power. Moreover, he had awakened more than 4 times. Moreover, he had the original secret technique and the primitive divine blood. On the other hand, the middle-aged burly man's origin divine power factor had only awakened once. Even though his cultivation level was 1 level higher than Lu Ming's, he was still a nonentity in Lu Ming's eyes. Boom! Lu Ming kicked the middle-aged man's face. He was fast, accurate, and ruthless. The middle-aged man couldn't resist. Boom! His foot landed firmly and accurately on the middle-aged man's face. The middle-aged man let out a muffled scream of disbelief. His body flew back at an even faster speed than before. Then, he heavily smashed into the wall of the courtyard. His face was deformed. His nose was crooked, and his mouth was slanted. A clear footprint was imprinted on the wall. The middle-aged man was dumbstruck. What happened? What am I doing? Where am I? After a while, he came back to his senses. Then, he was shocked and in disbelief. His cultivation base was higher than Lu Ming's, but he was defeated by Lu Ming in an instant. Behind him, Zhuozhou was also dumbstruck. Lu Ming's strength was beyond his expectation. I told you to get lost, but you didn't. Now, you don't have the chance to leave. Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and closed in on the middle-aged burly man. Brother Lu, have mercy. At this moment, Zhuozhou shouted. Lu Ming frowned. He stopped and said, You want to let them go? They're my family after all. I'll spare them this time. This time, I've taught them a lesson. Zhuozhou said. If you let them go, they won't let you go. I'm afraid they'll take revenge. Lu Ming said. The Black Dragon family is not under their control. There's also the Elder Institute. I'm the young master of the Black Dragon family. The Elder Institute will uphold justice for me. Zhuozhou said. Lu Ming shook his head slightly. Zhuozhou was too soft-hearted, too kind. But that was also the reason why he saved a stranger. Since Zhuozhou said so, Lu Ming didn't say much. Anyway, he was more or less clear about the Black Dragon family's strength. He didn't put them in his eyes. If they come again, he'll just kill them. Chapter 3583. You make the decision. Lu Ming waved his hand. All of you, get lost. If you come again, I'll kill you without mercy. Feng Zhou said coldly and decided to give them a chance. The middle-aged man was his second uncle. In this world, she was his only family. Let's go. The middle-aged man quickly led He Chuan and the others away in a sorry state. Feng Zhou and that kid, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. The middle-aged man roared in his heart. He must avenge today's grudge and get the Black Dragon token. Brother Lu, what's your cultivation? Feng Zhou looked at Lu Ming in surprise. Lu Ming's strength had really shocked him. Like He Chuan and the others, he thought that Lu Ming was just a heavenly god. After all, when he first saw Lu Ming was too weak. I was seriously injured before, and my star core was also damaged. Now, my cultivation has recovered a little. Lu Ming said with a smile. I see. Feng Zhou nodded, not paying attention to Lu Ming's recovered a little. In his opinion, Lu Ming's current strength was far beyond his peak. By the way, what's with those people just now? Lu Ming asked. That middle-aged man is my second uncle. Immediately, Feng Zhou told him the whole story. My second uncle used to be very good to me. I didn't expect him to reveal his true colors when I was injured. It seems that I misjudged them before. Feng Zhou sighed, feeling very lonely. They're really despicable. Lu Ming nodded. Feng Zhou was injured because of He Chuan, and his dragon vein was destroyed, turning him into a cripple. However, the other party didn't know how to repay his kindness and wanted to take away his Black Dragon token. Anyone would be disappointed. By the way, Brother He, let me take a look at your dragon vein and see if I can find a way to treat it. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Feng Zhou saved him, so he would also repay him and see if there was a way to treat Feng Zhou's dragon vein. Furthermore, he was also curious about the dragon vein and wanted to see it for himself. The dragon vein has been destroyed, and it's almost impossible to treat it. I've never heard of a dragon vein that can be cured. Brother Lu, you don't have to worry about it. Feng Zhou sighed. His eyes were filled with loneliness and despair. Now that the Dragon Clan's mother planet had recovered, this was a great opportunity. It was the time to take advantage of the situation and take off, but he had become a cripple and lost the hope of continuing to climb up. Anyone would despair. It was already a feat for him to be able to maintain his composure. There might be a way. Nothing is absolute in this world. Lu Ming smiled. In the end, Feng Zhou nodded and let Lu Ming take a look. Lu Ming waved his hand and sent a stream of divine power into Feng Zhou's meridians. It spread throughout Feng Zhou's body as he started to check on Feng Zhou's injuries. Feng Zhou's injuries were not serious and had basically healed. Lu Ming did not pay much attention to him. After a while, Lu Ming found a meridian in Feng Zhou's spine. This meridian was thicker than any other meridian. It was like a divine dragon that connected Feng Zhou's dantian and brain. However, this meridian had been destroyed. It was tattered and dead. Dragon vein. Lu Ming knew that this was the dragon vein. This is the dragon vein, right? It's really amazing. There are no living creatures outside at all. Perhaps it's related to the divine dragons. These people are the true descendants of the divine dragons and have the bloodline of the dragons. Lu Ming thought and was secretly amazed. This was the first time he had heard of such a dragon vein. There were also the dragon people outside, but there were no dragon veins at all. Perhaps, the so-called dragon people outside are not descendants of the divine dragons at all, but desolated dragons. Lu Ming thought of the dragon people outside again. Those dragon people had long tails and looked ferocious. They did not look like divine dragons, but more like desolated dragons. Brother Lu, is there a way? Feng Zhou asked. Although he said that it was impossible to cure him, he still held a glimmer of hope in his heart. Lu Ming did not answer. Instead, he frowned and pondered. Seeing that Lu Ming did not answer, the glimmer of hope in Feng Zhou's heart was also extinguished. He sighed and said, Brother Lu, it's okay. I also know that it's impossible to repair it. How can it be repaired when the dragon vein is destroyed? His expression was full of loneliness. However, Lu Ming's next words almost made Feng Zhou jump. Brother He, although your dragon vein is destroyed, it's not impossible to repair it. Lu Ming said. Feng Zhou's body shook violently. His eyes widened as he stared at Lu Ming. He said hopefully, Brother Lu, you mean, my dragon vein can be repaired? Yes, it can. Lu Ming nodded, looking very serious. Phew. Feng Zhou exhaled a long breath as if a huge rock had been lifted. Then, he looked at Lu Ming in confusion and said, Brother Lu, do you have a way? It's simple. As long as I concoct a medicine for you to drink, your dragon vein will be cured. Lu Ming said. Medicine? Feng Zhou was surprised. A medicine was that simple? That's right. Brother He, wait for me for a while. I'll go back to my room to concoct the medicine. Lu Ming nodded. The medicine that he mentioned was actually fake, but it was true that he had a way to cure Feng Zhou's dragon vein. As long as it was his blood, it would be fine. Now, he had refined the primordial divine blood and it was always residing in his heart. Although it was only a drop, it was no small matter. It was constantly assimilating his blood, allowing his blood to have some of the characteristics of the primordial divine blood. His blood might be useless to others, but it was very useful to a descendant of the divine dragon race like Feng Zhou. With just a small cup of his blood, Feng Zhou's dragon vein would definitely be completely restored and even be better than before. However, he couldn't say this directly to avoid arousing suspicion. That was why Lu Ming frowned and said that it was a medicine. All right. Brother Lu, please concoct the medicine. If there's anything you need, just let me know. Feng Zhou hurriedly said, extremely excited. He was already in despair. Now that there was hope, it would be strange if he wasn't excited. No need. I'll go back to my room and concoct it for a while. It won't take long. Lu Ming smiled. Then, he returned to his room, took out a jade bottle, and channeled his energy to force some blood into the jade bottle. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming took out 2 divine pills, crushed them into powder, and poured them into the jade bottle. The powder of these 2 divine pills didn't have any special effects. It could only neutralize the blood and remove the smell of blood. Looking at the bottle of blood, it looked more like a kind of medicine. After concocting, Lu Ming waited for another half an hour before returning to Feng Zhou's room. Brother Lu, do you need any help? Feng Zhou asked. No need. I've already concocted the medicine. Lu Ming said with a smile. You've already concocted it? So soon? Feng Zhou's eyes widened in surprise. Originally, he thought that the medicine that could repair the dragon vein would be very complicated. It would require a lot of precious medicinal herbs and would take a long time. But now, it had only been half an hour. If he knew that Lu Ming had deliberately waited for half an hour before coming, what would he think? That you're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.